All right, so I think the stream thinking about things ready to go though. So hello everybody, Mega ZardX here, back at it again to give you another very exciting podcast episode. That being my ZardCast episode 124. Yes, I know I butchered the episode number in the last episode. I didn't realize until after the fact when I started throwing up on all my socials. I was like, oh gosh, it pays off to actually do a little bit of prep work and at least see the number before you go live here though. But I got my good old buddy over here, Steven. How's it going, man?
It's going good.
All right, and you know, it's that time of year. I always like to call it as gaming Christmas, where everyone and their mama happens to show up with one of their presentation shows. So you got State of Play over here with Sony, Microsoft with their Xbox showcase, and you also had Summer Game Fest as well. And I was like, oh my goodness gracious. And it wasn't just those three as well. It literally also, Nintendo came out at the 9th hour and said, yeah, we're going to go in that old traditional Tuesday spot that we like to do in the normal E3 time. So all the time it played out normally as if like E3 never was canceled. And I'm like, oh yes, heck yes. So it was good that we did our predictions for Nintendo, because it was a 50-50 one night it was going to play out by the time we had this next podcast episode. But we did good, Steven. We did good. So most of the episode, like 85% of the episode is going to be dedicated just towards all those announcements, because there's a lot to go over, and we got to go over each one of those 4 different shows though. So we're going to keep this thing on and flowing now. And there's only couple minor things we were going to mention before we get into all of that in terms of our side quest announcement stuff. So we'll go ahead and throw that right before that though. But overall, it should be a very fun and very exciting episode. A lot of cool announcements and stuff to really look forward to. So we might as well not even go ahead and dilly-dally, though. We don't even have a pop culture segment, to be honest, though. So I literally got to skip over that. It kind of works out for the better, though, all things considering, though. And we're just literally going to roll it on over into what we've been playing, though. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump straight over into what we've been playing. Alrighty, Steven. So I only have one game that both of us have been actually going through and playing at least a little bit. You probably got a little further in the game than I have, though. But it's been an indie game I definitely been having on my radar, and that is none other than Mina the Hollower. Look, I gotta throw this out here while I still got everybody's attention. All right, you've been doubting on Mina. All right, you've been cracking jokes about me. You've been trying to make a clown out of me though. But I told you this game was gonna be solid and it's gonna be fine. But you kept doubting the game and stuff like that. And now as it stands now, at the point of this live stream video, Mina is the highest rated Metacritic game that we gotten this year for 2026. What do you got to say about them apples?
I'm obviously glad the game is doing good. I just thought with how they were talking about it and how Yacht Club Games was like, oh, this is a make or break game, and how it's been in development hell, I was a little worried.
I mean, you did have some good points there. I don't blame you though, but I don't know, that little bit that I got from the demo, which remind y'all, this game should have came out Halloween of last year, but it's something about it when Yacht Club Games was looking at it, they were like, well, I guess we're just going to take this little extra time to polish the game. Either that or maybe they saw a hiccup in the game and they want to iron that out before just throwing that here on the market, though. But it looked like the waiting has paid off. And what we got of the game is really solid, though. If you happen to play the demo, thankfully they do the whole thing with the save progression stuff carries over into the main game. So that's exactly what I did. Steven, you were advising just start back over from the beginning. I was like, no. I was like, time's precious. So it's like time's money. So I got to keep rolling with it, though. But thankfully, but unthankfully, if you finish the demo, it puts you right back in front of that one dude that happens to be like the final boss of the demo. So you got to go through and beat him again to get any further beyond the point of the demo. But it did allow me to knock off a lot of, rust in terms of the mechanics of how Mina happens to go around and stuff. So that's roughly where I'm at in the point of the game. I hadn't necessarily cleared out one of the first dungeons yet. But, Steven, how's that going for you, since I know you're a little further than me?
I've cleared out one of the dungeons, got to one of the lighthouses, and I'm liking the game so far. I feel like it's maybe just a little too aimless for my liking. I don't know why there is not a map. That I understand. I don't know. It just kind of
It's
annoys
kind
me
of
when it's
weird
just
because
like aimless.
you said no map. I saw one trailer from Yacht Club Games, and it looked like they hit the pause menu or something like that. But it showed a different region, like an actual map, not like a maybe a detailed map, but at least it showed like the different regions you had scattered across the
Well,
world or
that might.
whatever.
There is an in-game manual, so like it could be in there, but like I don't know.
Hmm.
The fact it's just not easily accessible kind of annoys me.
Okay. No, I can see that part. Yeah, because I wanted to see exactly, what like the dude literally says, all right, you got to go around and do all. Did you say lighthouses? What did you say? Light something?
Like lighthouse, it's either lighthouse or the towers, like where you gotta get all the
Yeah.
generators.
Generators. That's what it is. Yeah. So he says there's like 6 different ones around the major city or whatever, though. And it's like, all right, from what it's kind of describing out, it makes it seem like you can basically do them in any order you want. But I was just trying to see like what's the closest, what's the furthest one away. It's kind of like when you drop off in Breath of the Wild. It's like you're trying to get a game plan of how you want to go through and tackle all of these. But the way how there's not really like a map, it's more like, oh, you're just kind of winging this mess on the fly. And I was like, it still might work, but I still would like to kind of go into it with a game plan. That's my only little nitpick.
Yeah, it could be better with that.
Now I started off with the swords. What weapon did you start off with?
The whip. I was always gonna go with the whip.
Okay, it's the whip. All right, yeah, because the sword's good in the sense of like if you're going through and playing like a game like Link's Awakening, where I was like, okay, I can just kind of get in. No, I'm gonna do these solid hits. But there's certain enemies, and especially when you gotta like jump over like a gap in the floor where if you fall down that you're just gonna lose some health or whatever. Where I'm like, dang, having a whip or something with a little bit of a range would actually kind of help me out a little bit though. But I guess you just have to store up enough bones to be able to buy all the other weapons. And I think you do that in the main city. Is that correct?
Yes, or you can find. I found one of the alternate weapons just lying out in the wild.
Which one?
It's the shield thing. It's like a casket.
That was actually a main weapon that was just lying out there in the open?
Yeah,
Huh.
I think it might have up. I think it might upgrade it if you already had it. It's like a progressive thing. I think if you already had the weapon, it would upgrade it.
Was that at
But
the
you could
end of
also
the
just buy it
dungeon
from
or
the shop.
something?
No, it was just in the
Oh.
wild.
Hmm.
At the end of a dungeon, I think I got extra health. Like I kind of
Okay.
like a Zelda heart container type of
Well,
deal.
that makes sense. Okay, I can see that. Huh. Yeah,
It's
because
it was very interesting.
I really want to go through and actually like upgrade my stuff though, but I don't know when I'll be able to, or at least learn the ropes enough to where I can store up enough bones without losing everything from like just dying like that. There's that little bit of a roguelike ish kind of vibe up in there, but it's not super horrendous, but it's still there nonetheless. Overall, I think the game's fun. It's definitely gonna take me a little bit of time to go through it because they said it takes about roughly about 30-ish or so hours to beat, and that's quite a bit for a indie game. Like even when I'm thinking back with Undertale, which might have been the longest indie game I think I ever played in terms of like a playtime hours, and that was like somewhere between 5 and 10 hours. I was like, wait a minute, they said this is gonna take 30. Oh, this might take a decent bit of time. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all I had to say about the game. The game's pretty solid. It's pretty fun. Steven, was there anything else you want to mention on this?
Um, I like the game so far, but like I, it just to me it personally does not feel like oh wow this took so long to make type of deal. Like it's a good game. I'm having fun with it because it's like here's the thing. I'm more of a fan of something like Dark Souls than you are. So this game definitely has its Dark Souls elements mixed with its Shovel Knight elements, mixed with the Link's Awakening art style. But it's not really similar to Link's Awakening. It's more similar to Echoes of Wisdom, where you can go anywhere you want from the start, which it's interesting. I'm really trying to feel it out so far to see if I like it. I feel like it's the type of game where I'm gonna have to beat it and then determine whether or not I liked it. So far, like I'm having fun with it, but like it's a little I don't know how to describe it. Like the dungeon wasn't really all that great for what I was expecting really. Music's great so far. I love the music. I'm gonna get back to you once I actually beat the game. Obviously, I think Sonic beat the game. Our friend Sonic beat it, and like He said it was good, obviously.
Wait, he already beat
I
that sucker already? What the freak?
Yeah. But to be fair, it came out like 2 weeks ago now. It feels like a lot less time
It
because of
does
everything
fit.
that's going on.
Yeah, it does feel
But
less.
I've had a lot of stuff going on recently, personal, so I haven't had as much time to play extra games from what I usually play. I'm gonna get to it though.
Okay, okay. Well, that's not bad, half bad. But for the most part, I've been playing a little bit of this, and on the side has been Splatoon 3 when I can and whenever I can, really. And I feel like that was the most, obviously, I can't remember. We talked about it in the last podcast episode for 007 First Light. I was playing through that game, but I did finish it between that podcast episode and where I'm at right now. The game's phenomenal. It's definitely up there for one of my Game of the Year contenders, though. That game was amazing from start to finish. But overall, yeah, Mina getting off to a hot start, and it's selling pretty good. So I'm happy for Yacht Club Games. Very happy for him. All right, well that's it for this one segment though. So now we're gonna move over to the next major segment of the show, that being all of these subquests. All righty, Steven. Well, we're gonna go ahead and talk about Xbox a little bit. Not the Xbox showcase that they happen to talk about. That'll be later on in the show though.
No.
But this mess hit after they did the Xbox showcase, so people were kind of riding the highs of that show because for a lot of people that might have been their personal favorite show. However, lo and behold, Asha Sharma, she was like, "Hey, it's not all sunshine and rainbows over here, though. Yes, we might have did a fairly good, decent show, though, but we still got work to do. Like she's trying to lay down the law over here, though. So, couple of different things, and then I'm throwing this all underneath the same umbrella that Xbox has been kind of going through some stuff, or will be going through some stuff here fairly soon. Part one of the story is The Verge had like a report on more potential Xbox layoffs coming, and they're saying sources suggest that the cuts could even involve a studio closure or changes to the Xbox studio lineup. So we'll start with that part. So how does that make you feel, Steven, knowing that they had a pretty good, decent show? However, there still might be some more studio closures. There still could be some more cancellation. The funds could still be moving to other parts and stuff like that. And
So
you're still going to get more layoffs potentially.
Yeah, this is a very very Nintendo move to make, honestly. Do something really good and then do something really bad, like kind of shadily in the background, you know? You know when Nintendo you know those times where like Nintendo's been in deep shit and then they like announce a Smash character and people forget about it?
Mm-hmm.
That's what it reminds me of. I don't know, like I can't even I'm not even surprised with Xbox anymore. Like they can't do anything right, even if they try.
Yeah, and it always sucks because it's like, everybody looks at that and it's like, dang, it's like, well, if you're doing good, then why aren't you being able to put the money to support all of this stuff though? And then and it kind of leads into like that was just part one. There's also the part two where there's some information that Microsoft has considered spinning out Xbox and plans for the new Halo or the new Fallout game. So, quote unquote, as Microsoft gets ready to overhaul its struggling Xbox gaming unit, it hasn't ruled out spinning out or restructuring the unit as a wholly owned subsidiary, which could make it easier to sell, creating a joint venture with other partners, according to three people with direct knowledge of the discussions.
Who would own it? Who would buy Xbox?
I show
Genuinely.
enough when if I had enough money, I show enough on. I'm like, no, heck
They're
no.
backed by Microsoft. What the fuck are you doing with your money?
I see that's the thing though, because there's also been reports from Asha when she's been doing some conversations and some talks after the Xbox showcase was over with and such, where they were like, hey, you know what? We've been putting more money to invest in Xbox as a brand. However, we're still spending more or burning through more than what we're actually getting as our total revenue. And she's like, this cannot stand. Hence, that's the reason why we're hearing about reports of how they could do maybe some more studio closures and stuff, or laying off some more employees and such like that. Like she's crunching the numbers and knows that this is not basically a significant business model for them to kind of carry forward. So this part one and part two we're seeing right there is kind of just all, based off of, her little interviews and stuff that she had with some people. And it makes sense. What she's doing isn't technically wrong. It's just the fact that all of these years prior to it, with the previous ownership, underneath Phil Spencer and stuff like that, he was trying to approach it a very different way. And I think she's trying to approach it from the way how Sony or like a Nintendo would necessarily approach it, though. But changing the tide in an ocean is a whole lot harder than changing like a little bit of a ripple in a pool if you can catch it early, if that makes any
Yeah.
sense.
And also, like, this is entirely their fault. Like, I think that's another problem that I have, is it's like, wow, we had a really bad marketing strategy, and we are not doing good, and we're gonna lay more people off. They got too big, and then they were like, oh shit. I can't really feel bad for them because it's like, wow, look what you did.
Yeah, and they've been constantly falling flat ever since like the Xbox One generation. They were good with 360, but when they transitioned from the 360 to the One, from then it's just been like a snowballing
And
effect down the hill, and it's just been hard for them to recover.
and even then, the Xbox 360 generation had a fucking ton of problems. Red Ring of Death. Anyone? Like, they just, Xbox can't catch a break. Like, Xbox Live is probably the best thing they've ever done, and like, they've been coasting off of that ever since.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting the spot where they've been basically put at right now, though. And let's say if in a hypothetical scenario where it's like, all right, Xbox actually decides to break this up and put it in its own subsidiary at that point, that's almost like step one of like kicking your child out the house. It's like, all righty,
Good.
you can kind of live halfway across the road in this little condo that we happen to put up over there, though. We can still visit you and stuff. We can still get some money out of you, though. But for real, though, who wants to buy this sucker off the market, though? Like we can do some partial stuff. I can get some money. You can get some money. I could see Xbox eventually doing that, or not Xbox, it'll be Microsoft eventually doing that, and then eventually push Xbox completely out of their hands. If for some reason, if Asher Sharma can't get this whole ship turned around, because she's trying to do everything in her power. And I told you about this before in some of the Discord calls. I hadn't really openly thrown this out there in the video or anything on my channel, though. But I have a strong feeling that they brought Asher into this spot after saying, "Hey, Phil Spencer, you got to retire." And it was like, "Hey, look here, Asher Sharma, you can do whatever you want. We're giving you 2, maybe 3 years up until the point when the Project Helix thing will
Yeah,
release.
you have 2 years to fix Xbox.
You have 2 years to fix this mess. If it doesn't fix, not only we're gonna possibly, well, we might not immediately cut you, but we're taking over. It's like we're gonna kick down the doors, and it's like we're just gonna do whatever we feel like. And at that point, it'll be like any other Microsoft, dwellings and stuff with like, what was one thing they did in the past? There was like something like
Xbox.
not Xbox, Microsoft. They did
Xbox is
weird.
over if that happens.
Yeah,
Xbox is over if Microsoft.
they probably
takes
would
full
just
control
say,
of it.
you know what? If they were to come in, they're going to be like, hey, look, we're not making hardware no more. This mess doesn't sell. We're going full on like a Sega and stuff. Like we're gonna pull the Dreamcast. We're going full on third party. We're just putting our games out anywhere. PC, the competition. We're just gonna call it like that. And it probably will call it Microsoft Gaming at that point though. And if you got current consoles, good. It'll still support it. We'll still run the shops for I don't know how long. And they'll let it sunset like that. They'll still be making money off of the games and stuff though, but they'll just completely go third party with this mess. That I'm still predicting that mess. If Asher Sharma ain't able to turn this mess around in like 2 to 3 years, that's honestly, where I'm seeing it.
I'm fine with that. Fuck them. Honestly, Xbox deserves this. Like, good showcase or not, like it's not like a personal thing. It's Microsoft. It's not like they're my fucking friends. It's not like they have a proven track record. Maybe it's a little pessimistic, but like I just don't like them.
Yeah, no, I can understand the sentiment, and for most people, they like the original Xbox and the 360 eras, but when it comes to like the One and the Series, S and X, I don't hear a lot of people craving or raving over it. At least not too much in comparison to those 360 days, where I knew people that actually had 360s and they talked about them, but ever since then, nah, it's been kind of radio silent, and that's kind of saying something though. But overall, Xbox, they have some good stuff going for them, but at the same point, it's still kind of a mixed bag of sorts, a mixed bag. But yeah, all right. That's all we got to say on that. And the very last topic that we had in terms of our SUBQuest list, Nintendo Music actually had a pretty big and somewhat substantial upgrade. And I was looking at it when it originally dropped, and I was like, wait, what the freak? So we known about this app that originally existed on your phones, and that was the only way how you can go through and listen through Nintendo Music, right? They did an update to where it's like, hey, look, tablets, even though I technically could access it on my tablet, it always looked weird because it was treating it like a big version of a phone. You couldn't change the orientation, none of that stuff. They optimize it now where it's like, oh, you can pull up Nintendo Music on your tablet. And I was like, oh, that's cool. But more importantly, now you can access Nintendo Music on any computer. So you can just pull up your desktop computer, just open it up, type in the link or, save, have a bookmark, whatever though, whatever just makes it easiest. And you can just access all your stuff on the computer. And I think that's really good because there's a lot of times I'll be working at my computer desk, either be doing some stuff in the Discord call with y'all or something like that, working on some stuff with YouTube or whatever, or just casually browsing the internet. And I'm like, wait a minute. It would be nice if I can just have some music going on in the background, though. I didn't want to necessarily pull out my phone and have it play, but just having it on the desktop app, that's pretty nice.
Yeah, it's definitely probably the best update they've done for this damn thing.
And then that wasn't even all of it. It was that. And then they actually updated to where, hey, this app is also supported via Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. So if you have, one of those smarter vehicles that actually support those apps, then you're actually able to, seamlessly pull up Nintendo Music that way. Which I used to have a vehicle that used to have that stuff, but I kind of went into something, even though the vehicle got newer, the tech inside of it is still from like 2017. It's not like, those nicer screens or like something that you can like pop in a modern thing and put up in there though. So I don't have access to that no more. My brother does. But Steven, you have that, and I know you messed around with it, didn't you?
Yeah, I have. Well, I have a 2002 car, but we have Android Auto screen built into it.
Okay, so you actually did a modern upgrade to yours, yeah.
Yeah, and I gotta admit, the actual Android Auto part, like, it's okay. I'm pretty sure you could view your playlists very easily through it, which I like that. But like selecting a song while you're driving is not really that easy. It's definitely good if you have a playlist. If you have a playlist, which I made a quick playlist and tried that, it's pretty good. Obviously, I think the only thing with Nintendo Music I don't like is the limited drip feed of songs. Because, like, right now, my alternative most likely will still just be YouTube for soundtracks I don't have yet on Nintendo Music.
Which, yeah, I don't think you're ever gonna beat YouTube in terms of just trying to find like a specific song because not every song is available on that app.
But,
But
like,
give it enough time,
well,
it'll eventually get better.
Nintendo Music also doesn't really have like I wish they had like medleys because there's like a lot of like boss themes that like throughout the fight it will change the theme or like dynamic music and you don't really get that easily with Nintendo Music where like there will be some YouTube videos where that are compilations will have it like better or I don't know even Mario Kart World like the only having some of the soundtrack is on Nintendo Music really does make me mad.
Now, speaking of Mario Kart World, they launch all of this major updates and stuff for Nintendo Music. They did it with dropping music finally for Mario Kart World, which I'm thankful for because a lot of those songs, I mean, yes, you can kind of go through and look them up on YouTube or whatever, though, but there's a lot of songs that were just purely to free roam. Whereas if you're just not casually just flying through there's no jukebox or nothing like that. A lot of those songs you kind of miss out on or whatever if you're not actively trying to look it up on YouTube or such. So I'm glad that they actually started to put more music up in that. And then since the app has came out, they did one more update on Mario Kart World. So there's 2 waves of different musics that they put up in the thing now. So because I think you said there's like something like a crazy 350 different soundtracks in that one
Yes,
game alone
there is like at least 400 songs.
or
I feel
something.
like
Yeah, something
if
crazy.
you're if you're if you're counting fanfare and like some extended sound effects, like stuff like the star sound effect, I would consider that a music track. Like when you have a star, like
Oh
it's
yeah.
definitely either close or like right at 400. It is a lot.
Yeah, so it's gonna take time at the rate they go to have almost everything available just from Mario Kart World soundtrack alone. But I have a feeling I think with most Nintendo Switch 2 games, they might give you like a little preview, like how they did with the Star Fox thing. They give you a few tracks to kind of listen to, and then once a whole calendar year has gone by, then they'll just go ahead and just give you all the rest. And that's kind of what
Which
they did
I,
with
you
Mario Kart
know,
World. Donkey Kong Bonanza, we got in like the preview stuff, but we hadn't really got like almost every bit of soundtracks. Maybe they also kind of do that for like slight spoiler stuff for some people, even though there's a way how to market in your phone if you hadn't beaten the game. Don't play music like that. But
no,
I imagine
Donkey Kong
Donkey Kong
Bonanza.
Bonanza might be next.
Well, for reasons I can't really say, Donkey Kong Bonanza, no, they haven't really actually done any official marketing for any of that.
No, I mean they got like
So
they have a few like like the preview tracks, like what they did with F-Zero. I think they did the same thing with Bonanza. There's some stuff in there, but it's like the
no,
general
but
things that you
like,
saw for the trailers, nothing else in the game.
well, that's what I'm saying. Not even on their social media or anything have they actually put some of the other stuff for the late game of that
Oh, they're
game.
not. Yeah, no. Yeah, they're waiting pretty much for like a whole year, which I said this numerous times. Y'all got exactly until when did Donkey Kong Bonanza come out? It was July
July 17th, baby.
17th. You have until then. And after that, I'm not holding back no more. And the pod, I'm just gonna throw it out there. So y'all got till then. All right. But yeah, outside of that, really nice stuff that they managed to put up in this music app. And it just kind of made me think and wonders like, dang, between all of this and some other stuff we'll mention in the Nintendo Direct a little later on in the show, I really need to probably make another video because Nintendo's outreach on stuff just beyond games now is getting kind of crazy, to be honest, though. But yeah, good stuff right there. Anything else, Steven, on this one?
That's all. Like it's Nintendo music's cool and all, but like it's not anything I'm thinking about all the time.
All righty.
Just
Well,
keep adding songs. Really, is that it?
yeah. All right, well, that's going to do it in terms of all of our subquests. So now it's almost time to jump into the major highlight of this show. And it's going to be long, it's going to be good, and it's going to be all sorts of kind of fun. But now let's go ahead and jump straight on over into our main missions. All righty, Steven. So first up to bat, we have Sony's State of Play. We're going to talk about them in chronological order, the way how they happened out. So State of Play was first, Summer Game Fest was second, Xbox Showcase was third, Nintendo Direct was last. So we'll do all of these shows in that order. We're going to go through, just talk about some of our highlights and stuff. Obviously, it's really hard to talk about every single game that was even shown in these, but from the list that I actually taken notes from, we'll just mostly give our thoughts on the stuff that either I know is going to resonate with a lot of people and slash or definitely resonated with either myself or Steven. That's kind of how we will approach everything up on here, though, because there's a lot to go through and talk about, though. And along the way, maybe I'll have some footage kind of pulled up here for y'all, though, so y'all actually can see some stuff, though. But yeah, start things off with State of Play. We actually managed to get some Wolverine footage. This is how Sony actually started off the State of Play, and it was like 8 to 10 minutes roughly of some Wolverine footage, though. And you know what? That was really nice. It didn't feel too long, but it felt just right because we've seen some glimpses of this game, but nothing almost as extensive as what we managed to get right here. I was already sold on the game, though, but it was just nice to be able to kind of see how the missions was going to be structured, the way how Wolverine was moving around, what made this Insomniac game different versus a Spider-Man Insomniac game. So I was genuinely impressed with all of this stuff. There was a lot of like gory blood stuff. Hey, that there goes your mature rating and stuff like that, though. But
Yeah, I like the blood stuff a lot. I think that's cool. I enjoyed that. But like it looks a lot like every other Sony game that's been coming out, if I have to be a little critical.
yeah, but I did like how quick you can almost like jump in and jump out of action and stuff like that. You got to see the way how you got to like the heal. Like I guess if he takes just enough damage, there's a way for him to bounce back essentially though, because that's just how a lot of these mutants are. Like, or at least with Wolverine, he could take a beat and like look at that dude. He just goes in there. Ooh, shoot! Some of these kills is crazy. And if for some reason if all of that blood was a little too much for you though, I think they said there was like some kind of mode where it's like not as gory or bloody or something. Like, I don't know if they just make it white or you just don't see the blood flying or something like that. And then some people were like, I don't know if they were complaining or pointing that out. I was like, man, how you go from like a soaking bloody Wolverine to almost now he's just clean and just looking like normal. Like, look at that, like just kicking the man down and just stabbing. They ain't no. Well, I guess there might be some stealth parts up in this game though, but most of the time it's just going in and having at it though. But I'm gonna
Well, there
like it.
was. All I'll say is that there was all of those leaks back a while back now. Honestly, people were playing this game. There was like just regular people playing this game through the leaks,
Oh
and
yeah,
like
that
it looks.
little
Yeah,
demo-ish kind of thing. Yeah.
it looks like there's gonna be more like investigative esque moments in this game. Uh, the the characters, I don't know. Like I think Wolverine's mask looks really weird on him. It just doesn't look right. Something about the mask like just kind of looks off. And like all of the character designs in this game look a little fucking weird if you ask me. Like especially Jean Grey. Just like looks very generic all things considered. So
Hmm.
it's not like a crazy big deal, but like I don't know. It's like it's kind of the same thing I feel with Spider-Man 2. Like I looked at Spider-Man 2 and I'm like, that kind of looks boring. Especially like, because we have the X-Men coming back in the movies now, and Wolverine and Deadpool and Wolverine looks really fucking good compared to this.
Hmm.
But that's just me, obviously. But for you, I'm assuming that you like all the stuff with the designs. I just personally,
I
I don't
mean,
know. I
the
look at
the
it and it
designs
just
to
it
me
kind
look
of
all right.
expensive.
I mean, I never was like a huge like mutant fan, like any of the Wolverine or X-Men just in general stuff. I mean, yeah, I remember watching some, like the Logan movie, obviously the Deadpool Wolverine stuff like that. Like Wolverine is a character out of all the X-Men, he's the most interesting one that I will necessarily vibe with though. So I'm still curious to learn more from the mutant side of just Marvel in general though. So I'm still looking forward to this, and I still say Insomniac Games are still one of the best studios that Sony has in terms of putting out games consistently, and they're always games that I typically like and enjoy. So I always give them the benefit of the doubt though. Thankfully, no crazy limited edition, no Wolverine controller because I don't need to spend any more money because they dropped a crap ton of games on us during this past week or so though. But overall, the game looks fun. I'm really looking forward to it. Anything else, Steven, or are we going to keep it rolling?
I'm glad it doesn't look to be a like stupid open world, and like it's not just gonna reuse New York for the third time. Honestly, fourth time. But like it looks like it's gonna be more mission based, so that will definitely be cooler. I'm most likely gonna try the game. Like I'll most likely play it.
See,
I
that's
just
crazy
I'm a
if you're
little
going to do that before
cautious.
Spider-Man 2. You still had to do it
Yeah,
on this.
because I've already played a Spider-Man game, and it's just more Spider-Man. It's nothing remarkable.
Oh, man, you're
I
missing out on that Venom segment. Oh, shoot.
I don't know. It's like the kind of I've seen the Venom stuff, and it's like it's just a very interesting depiction of a character. Like I've seen Venom, and he's fucking cool, but I just don't like how that Venom is. All right, we're moving on from that. That
Okay.
game looks neat. Deborah Wilson's in it for like a split second in the trailer, and I was like, oh,
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that was pretty much how they started off the show. They started it off with Wolverine. And then next up to bat, which was like right behind us, it kind of blended right into the the other gaming related stuff, or not gaming, the same Marvel vibe and such that they had right after Wolverine was all the stuff that we managed to get from Marvel Token Fighters. That was the second one that they managed to bring up the bat. And I was like, you know what? I'm here for it. This was a game I was already gonna buy. Me personally speaking, the game comes out in the middle of August, and they managed to showcase off a handful of more characters and such that's going to be added into the fray. Like we got to see looks of Doctor Doom up in here. They also showed off Green Goblin in here. Shoot, they even showed off my boy Carnage, and I was like, once I saw Carnage, I was like, oh heck yes, because Venom he goes hard. But I also love Carnage as well, though. Like I feel like he's there in some of the Spider-Man related stuff from time to time though, but he doesn't get nearly as much as attention like as a character like Venom, which I think Carnage has a lot of stuff going for him personally as well though. So yeah, seeing that Magneto, all the footage looks really good. I just can't wait to get my hands on this game though, because there's a lot of technical stuff. Even when I did like that closed beta, that you're able to do in this game though. It's going to take a learning curve up on it though, but visually, just watching how this stuff plays out, it looks really nice. You got anything to say on this one, Steven?
It looks pretty cool. I don't really know if I'm gonna get it right away. It's because it's difficult. Like, it depends on if like our friends are playing it. If I is maybe it comes out in August, I think.
Yeah,
Right?
August.
Yeah, I might get it. I might get it. I'll see. But yeah, it looks cool. The game looks very nice. Carnage looks awesome. I'm just looking at your thing on there.
Yeah.
It's definitely if I get the game, I will definitely play like this team. Because like the other characters, like some of them, like Miss Marvel looks kind of cool. I think Iron Man looks kind of weird. Same with Captain America. Like some of the characters, I don't really like how they look, but basically every character on the Knights of Doom team looks epic.
Yeah, so it's not bad. Not bad at all. So yeah, so I'm looking forward to this, and it's one of Sony's like last couple of games, August 6th. Um, so one of Sony's last couple of games, this along with Wolverine, that they're gonna actually put out as like first party games. So honestly, pretty good stuff. Pretty good stuff. Moving on to the next thing though, we're still on a pretty good cycle of games where I actually cared about them. You have Rayman Legends Retold, which for everybody and their mom that already knew about it, this game leaked like what 5-6 days in advance, Steven, or something like that. We saw that making the rounds, and we're like, oh, okay, that kind of makes sense. It's been a while since Ubisoft did anything with this dude, though. I mean, it's nothing like brand new, like in the sense like a new game versus this retold version of
Well,
the one that we got on the Wii U. But
my first thoughts, my first word I said to myself was why.
Y and D. But then again, if you answer that Y with the fact that this is done by Ubisoft, you should have gotten your answer, answer or
Well,
whatever though,
well,
because
because they don't have an original idea to save their life. I know.
yeah, so I mean, it's been over a decade or so since Raymond had pretty much anything, to be honest, though. So the fact we're getting something is like, all right, and they are adding
Mm.
some new extra stuff, and I like how this version of the game is actually going to be sold with Rayman Origins as well, and it's all for like $40. So it's like you're almost paying like 20 for one, 20 for the other. So in terms of pricing, it's not terrible. And I
Well,
know this game
pricing.
came out on the Wii
So,
U, but I messed with the demo and I didn't really mess with it much more than that. So I feel like I owe it to this series to at least really try to sink my teeth up in it this time around.
I'll tell you right now, Rayman Legends, at least the one I played, the real one, fucking incredible game. I love that game. It's like our friend Kyle has been playing through it again recently, actually, because of the announcement. Amazing game. It's really fun. It's got some challenge to it too. It's got a little bit of bark. It's got a little bit of bite to that bark. Um, the game itself is the music's great. Obviously, it has those music levels, which I'm sure you played in the demo. That's like the main thing everyone remembers from this game is the
Mm-hmm.
musical levels where you kind of play to the beat. They're fun. This game, the remake will be keeping it. It looks like they are just taking the original game and are remaking it in a more realistic art style. I don't know. I'm kind of iffy about the art style, honestly. Is like my main thing, but yeah, it's not horrible. I've seen worse. I just personally feel like the original game's art style was timeless, and it's kind of weird because they're not updating Rayman Origins. Which, by the way, Zard, Rayman Origins, a bunch of those levels were included in the original Legends. So I'm assuming Legends Retold will just not include those levels, which is why they're giving you Origins.
Yeah, yeah, they're basically doing that, and in its spot, they're adding some more extra musical levels to the retold version of the game though. So it's kind of like take away some stuff, we put in the original ones, but then for the stuff we're taking out, we're also adding in some new stuff here and there though. So I think that's a pretty good balance. I mean, nothing really of loss is getting really lost out of the game though. So
Well,
not,
the art style. You're losing the
I
art
guess,
style.
but it's not too bad. I mean, the
Yeah,
fact they gave you a whole nother game and it's to
don't get me
remaster that.
wrong. Don't get me wrong. I'm immediately buying this, okay? I just personally think this was unnecessary. Also, they split Rayman's eyes. He now has two eyes. I don't know why.
They got to give him that Sonic treatment, man.
It just doesn't look right because Rayman Origins has the original design, and then they're doing, but like they're obviously putting a lot of love and care into this. The 3D visuals, they look nice. I just think the original looks like it's not even that one looks better than the other. I just think the art style is better. But like the visuals, it's weird because it's not just art style. They're doing cutscenes. They're adding new like 3D sections where you like ride dragons and stuff. At least it was the one they showed. New story stuff, from what it seems. Probably a new ending, and then all of that on top of, like you said, $40 price tag for all of it. Especially because this game is a decently sized game with a lot to do, and they're giving you Rayman Origins. I'm definitely getting this. I'm gonna play this day one. Obviously, I might start with Origins and then go to Legends Retold. I gotta see. I haven't played Origins in a while.
Yeah. I don't know. No, my dumb luck, I wound up starting with Retold and eventually going back and playing Origins. I don't know. Depends on how I'm feeling by the time I get my hands on this game, though. But
You don't. Yeah, you don't have to play. You don't have to play Origins first. Don't worry.
yeah. So overall, not bad, Sony. You're starting off fairly good. I'd say you're 3 for 3 with all of this stuff so far, though. And then next that I had up on my thing, I did not have this whatever this sushi master thing was. I did not necessarily have that up on my list though.
It
But
is a spin-off of Dave the Diver, I think.
yeah, and this lady right here, you see this on the screen. I can't remember what her name is, but is that the girl from like the Game Awards, like the one that
This is the
always?
girl. Yeah, this is the girl that made that funny pose, and it was like Ghostwire
Okay.
Tokyo. I think
Okay, that's
she
what I
worked
was
on.
thinking. But okay, there we go. She did it. All right, there we go. I was wondering at first. I was like, wait a minute. I was like, something look familiar about this girl. But I was like, all right, that makes sense though. Uh
The more she does it, the more the meme is dead.
oh golly, yeah, kinda. But yeah, no, Tomb Raider. This was the next one I had up on my list. Tomb Raider: Legacy of Atlantis. It's nice to be able to see more footage of this game. I think they said it comes out obviously in 2027. I want to say February, if memory serves me right, though. But it was just kind of nice to see all this extra. Because Tomb Raider has been getting quite a bit of love. I mean, there was like that remaster compilation that they already did, like that kind of came out a handful of months ago, and then now we're getting all of this stuff in terms of just being able to get like this remake of this one, and we know after they get the remake of this one done, I think in the next year you're gonna have like the brand new Tomb Raider though. So I'm keeping my eye on this, but at least all the footage that we managed to get on this, it looks really nice. It looks nice.
One thing about this, from what it seems like, whether they confirmed this, they have quote unquote used generative AI in some fashion, which just is not a good sign. That's all I'm gonna say about that because it does piss me off. Don't worry, Zard, it pisses me off. But yep, generative AI in a remake. If you couldn't already be unoriginal, you also have to use AI. You literally, all you have to do is copy what someone else did, yet you still choose to copy it with the most fucking shortcut, the shortcuttiest shortcut possible. I don't know. Um, we've seen some footage of this. Footage looks nice and all, but like I guess when you die, it like weirdly cuts away. It cuts the black right before like there's any blood or gore or anything,
Mm-hmm.
which is just a little weird. Like you're
Yeah,
getting mauled by a T-Rex. I want to see that. God damn it!
February 12th. Yeah, and I don't know why, but at first, sometimes it wasn't just in her little trailer right here, and some other games throughout some of these other presentations. Anytime I see dinosaurs, it's like, dang, where's that Jurassic Park game? Gosh, dang it! I don't know. Eventually, one of these days, I'll get it though. But no, the stuff I saw with the Tomb Raider game from Atlantis looks really nice. I'm looking forward to this, and as long as nothing super crazy comes out around this time, this is a game I'm looking forward to potentially picking up. Now, from this point onward, this is where the show, that was the last good announcement that they announced for me personally that I like. But I can understand some other games that some other people may have liked. But for me, I was almost kind of checking out after this point. Though I still enjoyed the show for what it was, I just knew the rest of it wasn't necessarily for me. Unless, Steven, you saw something like that. But we'll go through the rest of this list here real quick. We
No,
had Phantom Blade Zero, which Phantom Blade Zero, that was that game that was always shown off multiple different times in like a lot of other previous state of plays. And you know what? They still said the full trailer and the pre-order launch thing is going to happen some point later in 2026. And we'll wind
This
that back a
game,
little bit. I get sometime later summer we should get more information on it. It was just more like almost a tease that they managed to give us in this state of play. Like, my goodness.
I'm getting sick of seeing this game because we never actually see anything interesting. We just see generic, realistic-looking Japanese environment. The game.
I mean, yeah, it was kind of crazy him fighting everything and while still holding on to a silly old baby at that, like chunking and throwing that thing around and whipping swords and lances out. Like, come on, man. Like, man, what kind of father are you? Or a guardian or something like that. Like, my goodness, man. I don't know.
I don't know. They just keep showing it, and every time they show it, I just get a little bit less interested. You know.
No, yeah, that's perfectly understandable. But yeah, so they showed off Phantom Blade Zero. Next up, they had like this Dune game, which I was looking at this and I was like, okay, have you ever watched like the Dune games? Or not Dune
The
games, Dune
movies.
movies. I said games,
No,
movies.
I don't. I do not give a shit about Dune. It's got stupid Zendaya in it, and
Zendaya, you'll put respect on that name, gosh dang it.
It's got the guy that
You hear
plays
me, Steven?
yeah, I heard you, but I really
Okay.
I don't care about it. It's got the guy that plays Willy Wonka in that new Wonka movie. He's okay, and I don't really care about it. It kind of just looks stupid. I was gonna use another word, but I can't really use that. I don't really care for it. I do not care for Zendaya. It's like this stupid Family Guy thing. I do not care for Dune. But
No,
I don't know.
yeah.
It's the game is. I think the game is a game that already came out, or
Nope.
like it was
September
made.
22nd is when it's coming out.
I swear it was already a game that released on PC and it's just coming to PlayStation.
Oh, well.
That's what I seen.
Hmm.
Either way, does not look interesting. So I don't care.
All right, yeah. So that was pretty much it for Dune Awakening. Next up on my list, I had it was. Let me see here if that was actually the exact footage of this. No, not no Dynasty Wars. No, I ain't a fan of that thing. But the next game I had up on my list was none other than Onimusha: The Way of the Sword. In which, when I was looking at the footage on this one, I was like, "Oh, okay, this one looks." I've seen a lot of people speak positive on this, and there's actually a demo that dropped as soon as this state of play was done with. So if you want to dabble with or check out this game, you certainly can. Capcom was hitting on all cylinders. We're going to be talking about Capcom throughout pretty much every single one of these showcases that has happened within the past week, because they love everybody apparently though, and it all started off with this game right here though. But I mean, I guess if you really like yourself, similar to like a hack and slasher or something like that, something equivalent to, you know, like a Ninja Gaiden ish, but obviously not spy related ish kind of sense. Oh man, that's nasty. That thing licking that woman like, oh shoot. But anyway, though, if you like yourself that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
not that kind of stuff, but the other kind of stuff, then
I don't
you
know,
can
Zard.
you can
What if
check it
I?
out.
All right. Well, what if I do like the other kind of stuff? Where do I go for that? Huh? You got any places to send me?
Nothing I can
What if
say
I?
in this podcast. Let's leave it at that. But overall, it looks interesting. I just know it's not necessarily for me per se, though. But it looks good. Capcom, I feel like they never can really like flunk at making a game per se. I know it might be not
Not in
hitting
your
for some
lifetime.
persons though, but I mean, yeah, they've been on a roll here as of late. Was there anything you want to say on this one?
It looks okay. I don't know. I know this is a franchise that has been like dormant for a while. I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure this is an old franchise, Onimusha. I don't know anything about like old Capcom. It's like Street Fighter, Resident Evil, Monster Hunter, and Devil May Cry and Mega Man, and that's the extent of my knowledge of Capcom.
All of that and then add Ace Attorney for me. But yeah, that's pretty much it. All right, so that was it. That was a solid announcement. I actually like seeing that one at least in comparison to some other stuff we managed to get. Next up, there was like Silent Hill Townfall, which I was looking at this one and I was like, okay, I was like, which one was this? And I was like, oh, Townfall. That was the one where it was kind of centered around the town. I think out of all of the
They're
Silent
all
Hill
centered around
I know it's
towns.
all centered around the town though, but like this wasn't the one where it was like people were voting on. It's not that one, but
No, this is a new like game. Had the black guy as the protagonist. That's all I remember about it. I'm sorry. Okay.
I know. But
Yeah.
out
I
of
don't know.
all of the
It's
Silent Hill announcements, well, besides that one where you vote on it as a community, I think this one was kind of like the lowest one on the totem pole because people loved obviously the Silent Hill 2 remake, and people like the one that had an F as a subtitle for the newest
that's it.
Silent
It's
Hill.
just called It's just Silent Hill F,
Yeah,
and
so
that
people
one's like
love
very
both of those
Japanese
games,
inspired.
but this one was like the lowest one on the radar in terms of everything we got in that Silent Hill direct way back when.
Because I don't know. It just doesn't really look as interesting. It's not. I don't. I think that's it really.
Yeah,
People were
so
just like, oh, that game looks okay.
I mean, not bad, not bad. Obviously, they just have to put it
They
out.
showed nothing. It's like no gameplay. I don't know why they even showed this. It doesn't
Yeah,
make me interested in buying it. That's for sure. Like
I mean, yeah, they said it comes out September 24th. A lot of these developers, they're starting to put out their games in
every game in September.
September and October because they're all afraid about GTA 6 coming out in November. Like I went back and looked at the list. I was like, it's stupid with how many games we're going to get within those 2 months. It's almost going to be if you have some conflict of interest, it's going to be really rough. Thankfully, I did the math. Mine's not that bad though, but it's getting there for some people though. So yeah, if you're interested in that one, comes out September 24th of this year. All right, and then next up after that, I don't know why, but when I was looking at this game, it looked pretty good. I know I probably won't pick it up, even though it's made by Bandai Namco, which they can make some good games from time to time though. But
Damn.
Ace Combat 8 Wings of Theve. Now, this is how Microsoft Flight Simulator should really be looking at. Like, have you seen the cloud details up on some of these trailers and stuff like that? Like,
I don't care about.
I feel like you could probably put yourself in the cockpit and you feel like you're actually in the sky. Like, at least some of the animations and the styles and whipping around and moving around in the clouds and stuff. It looked visually, it looked good. It looked good. I don't know how the gameplay would be for me personally playing the game though, but looking at the stuff, it looks nice. It's just easy on the eyes.
So here's the thing. I know people like this franchise, Ace Combat. I've heard good things about the franchise. I think the humans just fucking do not look good in this game. Like
I mean, they look
everything, like,
generic, but they don't look horrible. I mean, they're just
I don't
people.
know, it just looks like it looks like it's trying to be real, all right. It doesn't really look all that interesting to me. I know the cool part about these games is the gameplay, but like this is all like cinematic shit they showed. So I don't know. I need to like actually play the game. I have a lot of problems when it's just cinematic. The show.
No, yeah, I get you.
That's it,
Um,
really.
yeah, so that's pretty much it for that one. Next up you had some deal. Oh shoot, yeah, I got to fast forward so far up in this one because the next thing I had up on my list was like some marathon DLC. Oh
Who
yeah,
cares?
I got it. I literally got to. Oh wait, there it was. I was trying to figure out. I was like, wait, I felt like there was a lot more that should have happened in this state of play though, but then I remember what happened with the last announcement. We'll
And
talk about that here
and
in a moment.
they spent 3 minutes on fucking new marathon content. I don't care. This game's out. The people that like it are rotting in a ditch somewhere. I don't know.
Now look, even though they might
You
be
you
riding a ditch, those 12 people that play this game, are static through the moon. They're getting some new content in the
they
age
bought
where
Bungie
Sony
for
will go
this.
through and cancel stuff. I mean, yeah, they spend a stupid amount on Bungie, and they come up with a game like
Look at
this.
that.
I don't know. Yeah,
Probably a game they were already working on for Xbox. It certainly looks like one.
yeah, certainly does. But yeah, so that was one of their other first party games. So like what we had Wolverine, Marvel Token Fighters, both two solid good games. Then you come around to this, and people are like, I don't know how I feel about this though. But yeah, so you had that stuff coming out here soon. Then next up on my list, which was like literally like one of the very last two announcements that we had up in here after they talked about some PlayStation Plus updates and such though. Until Dawn 2. Now, I'm not necessarily an Until Dawn fan, so I really didn't resonate with this whatsoever. But I guess some people were excited when they saw Until Dawn, and it must have been good enough for them to say, you know what, we want a sequel. And here's Sony like, all right, here we go. Bunch of teenagers up on the island and stuff trying to get jiggy with it though, and then stuff is killing them. They're like, all right, you got to take these people out. I don't know. I feel like, I guess it's just like, what, the last person standing is good. Like, I saw an option where it's like, okay, you can either push one person off or like you jump off alone or something, like right there. You have like a couple of different options though. I I guess you could. I mean, I guess there's some replayability on it though. Man, that's a brutal death right there to fall on the rock out of all that ocean there, and you just land on the rock. Gosh dang. But yeah, I guess there's a lot of different ways how you can go through and play this game. So it kind of makes, replayability pretty good though. So everybody can live and everyone can die. I guess that's the
Yeah,
slogan, and it's coming out in 2027.
when we first looked at the trailer, we thought it was Dead Island, which is a game that came out a while back. That's like a very similar deal. Like it's like everyone's stuck on an island and people are dying. It looks okay. I didn't really when I was watching that, I was like, oh, Until Dawn, okay. They just did an Until Dawn movie, right? And then they also did the remake.
Now they
So
made a
that's
movie. I would
I
have no
swear they
collection
did.
of that.
Either way, well, it was. I know for a fact they did the remake. They might have confirmed the movie. Either way, I don't know. They're trying to do it, make Until Dawn a franchise. Good for them, I guess. I could not care. I try. I could try my best to care, but I don't think I could.
All right. Well, fair enough. Fair enough. So that was the second to last announcement, though. And then
Yeah.
after this, they finally got to the end of the show, in which I was looking at the clock. I was like, because the way how they were talking, I was like, wait, they made it seem like it was the end of the show. I was like, how can this be? They was like, there's still so much time left. They said that this show was supposed to be kind of close to like an hour and 15 minutes. They say you can go to the draft house or whatever though and watch these movies or watch this state of play in movie theaters. So I was like, whatever this last thing is, it has to be grandiose, or there's like a lot of things that they're gonna announce along the way. So they popped up that Sony State of Play logo, and I'm like, all right, they said Sony Interactive Entertainment presents. And they were so slow with popping in text and stuff like this. So I was like, okay, this is one of those things where it's like, you got to listen to the audio, right? Like to be able to tell what it is. And at first I was like, well, what is it? Because I wanted it to be an Uncharted game. I was like, no, this doesn't sound like Uncharted. And I was like,
I thought it
and
was
then,
gonna be Intergalactic, but then they said it was a new
yeah,
game.
and then I was thinking Horizon. I was like, is it another Horizon 3? I was like, wait, isn't that too soon? And then I saw Santa Monica Studio. I was like, oh. And then they started playing the music. And I was like, oh, dog. I did not think they were going with this kind of direction though. And sure enough, they sure enough did. Because then you see Kratos' arm, and it's like, oh man, we got ourselves another God of War game. I was like, brother, we just came off of the last State of Play where they actually announced God of War, the original trilogy, as a remake coming out, and they did a shadow drop of God of War game that was kind of like more of an origin story in a 2D platformer kind of sense, though. I was like, what the heck? So this was the last thing in terms of first party studio games I expected from Sony, especially in that one more segment thing. I was like, what the freak? But to everybody's shocking surprise, it's not focused on Kratos this time. It's focused on the woman. And from that woman, gave birth to a lot of different memes. Oh, shit.
Okay, well, to be fair, I don't know, she is like an important character, all things considered. It's Kratos' wife. Like, I see people like, oh my god, the Kratos' wife is this powerful. I'm like, I don't know. It's Kratos' wife. I'd expect her to be somewhat
somebody got to put up with all of his urges and stuff like that.
And
like,
also,
someone got to take out what he's dishing out.
And also, I'm pretty sure in the God of War games that have been coming out recently, like they talk about her all the time. And also, this game was like very heavily rumored apparently for a while. I didn't hear any of the rumors myself.
I didn't hear nothing.
But our friend Sanicky was like, "Oh, yep, this is people talk about this. Is this the Faye game?" And like, yeah, it's the Faye game. And my problems with this game lie nothing with it's a woman. People on Twitter are like genuinely mad that it's a woman. I'm like, shut the fuck up. I don't care. My problem with this game is it just kind of looks boring and generic, and it's got a fucking talking sword and a stupid Jello cube that talks.
Now look here,
talking sword and a talking cube.
Look here, that Jello cube. Yeah, it's not going to be a cube the whole time. It's literally going to be like Donkey Kong Bonanza with Pauline being in that rock form. It's going to be like a cube for a period of time, and eventually something's going to pop out of it. Something from I don't know if
Yeah,
it's
but
gonna be
like
Greek or if it's gonna be like an Egyptian mythology. It's one of those things. It's just gonna pop out, and then that's gonna be the character that side assists, just like that boy was while Kratos was going through his games.
they
So
showed they showed the voice actor for the cube inside of a giant mocap suit, which is basically just a box. And I'm like, oh my fucking god, it's a cube. Why do you have to mocap it? It's a cube.
the leaning into the bit, man. The leaning into the bit.
No, you're inflating the budget, is what you're doing. For I don't know. This game will probably be fine and all, but like the fact of the matter is, they showed quote unquote 20 minutes of quote unquote uninterrupted quote unquote gameplay, and I swear about 15 minutes of it was cutscenes. You see one cool like Devil May Cry esque fight sequence for like maybe 2 minutes, and then there's maybe a boss fight at the end. But besides that, it's her crawling through fucking corridors, talking to the magic sword. Wow, you could do this perhaps with your magic. Wow, we've been trapped here. And then fucking NPCs like, oh, you don't know what you hold. That sword, it's it's a plot detail I don't want to tell you yet. Like, it's stupid. Like, it was the most generic thing I've ever witnessed. Meanwhile, like, it looks nice and all. I'll give it that. It looks fine. I think the concept is really cool, which we seen on the description. Basically, this realm is like an afterlife where gods reside after they are killed or like die. It's like some kind of land where dead gods live. So like it kind of leads like there might be some interesting stuff where all the gods that Kratos has killed might return in this game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, there's a good chance. So it
And
allows
that would
for
be
some
cool.
interesting interactions at least.
Yeah, that the concept of this game is cool, and like playing as like her is cool. I will say the voice actor for her, like the mocap actor, looks very different from the actual facial structure on her. Like they specifically went in and adjusted her to look different from the actor portraying her, which is weird. Like I know people are getting all up in arms, but it is an objective fact that they made her less pretty, which is honestly kind of insulting. I
Oh,
think so, at least. I would be kind of insulted. Like, oh, you use my likeness, but you make me look worse, and now everyone on the internet is complaining about how I look. Yeah, I would be genuinely insulted
I'll
if
be
that
I'll,
happened.
I'll be upset though too. But at the end of the
But like
day, they're gonna do what they want to do. I mean,
at the end of the day, they showed us a nice little movie, which is probably why they put it in fucking movie theaters. I feel so bad for
yeah,
anyone
that
that had
that
to go see
literally
this
was
in a movie
why.
theater.
And I was like, I did not think that they were gonna end off with. It's one thing if they did 8 minutes worth of footage, like how they did with Wolverine, that would have been acceptable. But to do 20 whole minutes and bloat your show up that much, like the show was like an hour and 15-ish or so minutes. You take that footage out of here, like all 20 of it, and now you're back down to like 55-ish minutes, almost the same length as like what the Nintendo Direct was almost at that point.
Yeah.
Honestly, they should have reduced this footage down to 4 to 8 minutes at most and called it a day. But I don't know what they were thinking in and off of 20 whole minutes. That kind of soured my mood, despite how you know cool in some ways this game looked or the potential for it to be. I just think that you shouldn't have showed it off like this because we know the game's still going to be like what 2 years out from release. It ain't coming out next year. I can almost guarantee you that. It'd be a
Yeah, that's why they
miracle if
didn't give
that
a
were
date.
the yeah. So traditional Sony timeline, you see it first time, and usually you'll maybe get something 2 years, maybe 3 years later though. But we'll see though. That's pretty much all I have to say on this one game. Unless you had anything else to say, Steven.
I nominate the Cube for the Game Awards whenever this game comes out as Best
Oh,
Actor.
please no. Oh golly. Please no. We ain't going there. All right. Well, I think that's pretty much it in terms of everything that we got out of that state of play right there, though. So, we're gonna do this for pretty much every single one of the shows in traditional fashion, like how we usually treat our Nintendo Directs. But Steven, looking at that presentation showcase, what letter grade are you gonna give Sony for their state of play?
D, because the only thing I was really excited about that hasn't already been announced is Rayman Legends Retold, and that got leaked, and it's not even a new game. It's I'm looking at your list. Game we already knew about. Game we already knew about. Game that got leaked to the hell and back. That's not even a new game. It's a fucking remake. Game we already knew about. All of these are games we already knew about. Besides, I think Ace Combat 8. and Until Dawn 2, and then God of War Laufey. They saved all the new announcements for the end, but even then, didn't show any fucking gameplay. I'm
No,
pissed. I'm sorry.
yeah.
You can maybe clearly tell that I don't like when I see movies in my gaming showcase.
No, yeah. I mean, I wasn't necessarily a big fan of this one either. I mean, it had me in the first half, and I ain't gonna lie. But
Yeah.
then after that, it really started to kind of lose me towards the end, unfortunately, though. So I was like, shoot, it's really unfortunate though. But for me personally, what you said, just a flat D? Is that what you said?
Just D.
Okay, I went a couple of notches higher. I actually gave it a C minus. C minus. Because the
Did you
stuff that I
already
did
have like
like
the ratings down, like written down?
no, I actually made videos for each one of these videos already. Or I made videos for each one of these showcases already. So I already know exactly where my letter grade is, but I never really asked you about your letter grade, so I wanted to compare yours to mine. So across, if we were to average them out, it still would have been at like a dog. It would have been like a D plus at best. But my
Yeah.
goodness, yeah. So we weren't too far off the stretch on that one though. So all right, not not too bad. All right. So overall state of play, definitely probably was the lowest one in terms of our totem pole in terms of news announcements that we managed to get that both of us either like. At best, it was like 4 games out of this showcase, and everything else was either average where we know it wasn't our taste or just bad, like we just didn't really like it whatsoever though. But generally speaking, I think most people, they were okay with this. It wasn't the greatest thing ever and it wasn't the worst thing ever. So at least not a lot of people just like straight up outright hated it. So I guess we can appreciate
Well,
it
no,
from that
man.
regard.
I kind of straight up outright hated it.
No,
If you,
I mean
you,
like the general masses, like the overall consensus. I think overall consensus, everybody was feeling like a C plus on this, roughly, from what I've been seeing. Surprisingly.
yeah, maybe. I don't
Uh,
know, man. What a showing, right? What a showing. Honestly, what a showing from Sony, our favorite company.
Yep. All right. Well, we're gonna go ahead and move it on over to the next thing because we still got 3 more to talk about though. Next
Yeah.
up, we managed to have Summer Game Fest. Now I Jeff Keighley, he had a show this year, a show indeed that he managed to actually somehow miraculously managed to pull off. This I arguably would say was probably Jeff's best show across any of his Summer Game Fest or what was it? I can't remember the other one, or like the Game
Game
Awards or whatever.
Awards.
There's Game Awards and there's the other one that he does later on in the fall or something like that. Though, out of
I don't
all of
think
those shows, this is definitely the best one he's done by far.
I don't know what other show he does. Does he like host Gamescom? I don't even know.
Gamescom, that's what it is. Gamescom, that's the other one. Um,
That's nothing though. They hardly ever announce games at
yeah, they
Gamescom.
they kind of do some stuff like maybe right before Tokyo Game Show a little bit sometimes, but not a stupid crazy amount of anything like that though. So yeah. Um so not bad. So anyway, let's go ahead and roll into all of these different things, skip him talking all of this stuff. The very first thing that happened to show off in this one, this definitely set the tone. Resident Evil Veronica, obviously the remake of Code Veronica, which I was kind of wondering what would be the next, Resident Evil game in the pipeline to actually get like the remake treatment. Because they were kind of blasting through. We had 2, 3, 4. I didn't think they would go straight to 5, considering they had like all of this stuff on the side. So it makes sense that Veronica was next up on the list because a lot of people do like this one now. Now, I'm not
Yeah,
necessarily the biggest Resident Evil fan though, but you definitely vibe a lot more with it. So I'll let you take it away.
I like Resident Evil a lot. I've played most of them. Okay, I haven't played the ones that I know for a fact are doo doo fucking feces. Okay, but I've played most of them. And this one, I've heard very bad things about the original game. Heard that people just don't like it. But I've heard the concept of it and like all the story stuff and all the setting and everything involving it is cool. And people say it's like still a game you should play. And then this trailer was cool because it's like the it kind of builds up like, oh my god, it's Resident Evil, because like the lady, she makes a reference like, oh, it's like a boulder ran through here, and that's a reference to Resident Evil 5, which me and you have to get to that. So like I
Oh yeah, we
immediately
need to do
knew it was
that.
like, I knew it, and yeah, I knew it was like Chris Redfield immediately, and then you see Claire, which is his sister, you play as in RE2. So this is probably pretty good to go after, like the moment, like after you beat RE2. This takes place like in a very similar time frame to that game. Um, from what I've heard, this game is like in very like it's in a well need of a remake, and like it's gonna be in third person, from what I've heard. Maybe it will have the option for first person, like how this trailer's in first person, but they have confirmed third person at least. So
Oh, okay.
I'm assuming they're gonna do a lot of reimagining when it comes to the actual design of the game, but they're gonna keep a lot of the areas and story and stuff intact. They're probably just gonna reimagine it completely and just use the original as like a base. It's gonna be like a Final Fantasy VII situation, but at a much smaller scale. I haven't played the original game, so I don't have as much as you would nearly expect me to say. I just think it's crazy they already have this close enough to where it's releasing on 2027, and apparently releasing day and date on Switch too, mind
That
you.
too. Yep.
After Requiem just came out, and we're getting DLC for Requiem most likely later this year.
Which, if they were, wouldn't we have seen that in one of these showcases if that would have been the case?
No, they could easily do their own showcase for that. They did a Resident Evil 9 showcase back a couple months ago.
I guess. But overall, that was quite a way to start off Summer Game Fest. So this made me know, like, oh, okay, we're actually going places with this one show this year's though. So you can't necessarily laugh at this, depending on the way how the rest of the showcase kind of plays out though. Now, once again, I think this show overall was about how long was it, Steven? It was like 2 hours, 3 hours,
About it's 2 hours to my knowledge. Maybe
two
three
hours, and there were
hours if you include the day of the devs, but I don't care about that.
oh, that's probably what it was. And yeah, they had like a lot of different ads that were squeezed in between. That was like my only nitpick is like picking out what stuff was like the actual announcements versus the stuff that was like just the ads or whatever though. But I was like, okay, not a bad way to start off the show. Not a bad way at all, Jeff Keighley.
And
Then
he
we,
kept the momentum. He kept it.
mm-hmm, yeah, like he rolled that momentum straight from that into talking Cuphead thing with a straw, and I was like, wait, what the freak? And I was like, hold up.
The moment I seen the MDHR logo, I was screaming. By the way, this is probably one of my favorite announcements of the entire week.
Oh yeah, the fact they just kind of casually came out and said, "Yeah, we're making a brand new Cuphead or Cuphead
Coming.
2, basically," and they said it's coming. Emphasis on not soon. They just said it's coming. We're like,
Yeah, like
oh,
they
okay,
said it's in early stages, which definitely
yeah,
means come
5
back to us
years,
in about 5 years. Yeah.
5 years. I was
Which
like,
by the
oh goodness.
Cuphead will be 14 if it comes out in 5 years. Oh my god.
Oh, 14 years old by that
Yeah,
point.
which is
Dang.
crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they teased us with that, but then I was like, hey, you know what? While that might be just in development, we actually got something that's a little bit more tangible that you'll be playing here very soon, and that is Mighty Cuphead Adventure. It's like a 2D, so like you know how Cuphead has like the boss battles and then just the 2D battles or whatever, or the 2D side-scrolling adventures parts. I guess there's gonna be more heavy emphasis on like just rolling through just a platforming level or whatnot. Though we just got a small little glimpse of it. It wasn't nothing super deep or anything really to where we can like chomp our teeth down up into, but it was just enough of something where we were able to actually like get a little bit of an appetizer to kind of whet our appetites. But
Yeah, they
overall,
said
pretty good.
a small portion of their team is working on this in secret. And I gotta be honest, I love how this looks. It's going for that late 80s, early 90s like platformer type of deal, like very early Sega Genesis. Which, by the way, this game is a real Sega Master System game. Okay, they made it with the specifics of the Sega Master System in mind. So you can play. Apparently, this will play on a real Sega Master System.
Hmm.
They reverse engineered the Sega Master Systems, like how it operates, so this game could truly be classic. Which it looks pretty good for a Sega Master System game. I keep saying Sega Master System wrong. Looks pretty good for a game like that. Sprite work is very charming. Um, the colors look really nice. I'm. Did they say? They didn't say when it comes
No
out,
release date on this one, but
but
I
like,
imagine for this one, this will be the first one we'll get before Cuphead 2. And if that would be the case, maybe this will come out in like the next 2 years or so, if you were
yeah,
lucky.
and it looks fun. It looks like just a very classic, like actual run and gun platformer, because the run and gun stages in Cuphead aren't really that amazing. They're probably my least favorite part of the game because the game is designed to be hard, but these platforming stages are just unfair and throw a bunch of shit at you.
Oh, they throw too much at you, to be honest.
And they're okay, but like I think this structure works better. Most likely you're gonna do this, and then you're gonna fight a boss after, or maybe it will be like the grass world, this and that. Do a couple levels in the grass world. The themed enemies all look good. It looks like it's just gonna be based off of everything from base Cuphead, because you can see the Devil's Casino in the background, almost like a Bowser's Castle last thing. I am definitely getting this. All right, don't get that wrong. Definitely getting this game, and I'm probably excited for this a little bit more than Cuphead 2, just because that game's going to be so far out. So just announcing it means nothing to me.
Mm-hmm.
But that's it. Like this is probably my favorite announcement from Summer Games Fest. It only goes downhill, but like we'll keep going.
Yeah, no, we'll keep it going though. So yeah, so overall, not bad stuff that they happen to present here with this one though. So I was like, okay, not bad. Not bad, Jeff. Not bad. Let's see what else you have next to kind of offer up right here, though. And and man, there's gonna be a lot of skipping in this one because man, this show was stupidly long. They did have Alien Isolation 2. I didn't necessarily have that on my bingo card
They
or
already
anything.
announced it, but we've seen more of it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Looks cool. Oh, it looks cool. The original people very much like, from what I remember.
Wait, hold on. I must have went too far because I know they talked about this game I want to talk about next in terms of the gameplay footage. Where the freak is it? Show it to me. This is the one thing I actually cared about. Gosh dang it. Oh, rewind it back. Rewind it. No. Oh, whoa. Maybe I got my stuff out of order. What the freak? Oh, all right.
All right, well, just say what it is, because I'm
Well, the
forgetting
next
what
thing I
you.
had up on my list per se, I had Stranger of Paradise on my thing. No, I'll go ahead and mention it because
Yeah,
it's
Stranger
already
Than
on
Heaven.
there.
It's Stranger Than Heaven.
Yeah.
It's not Stranger Than
Why
Paradise.
did I say Stranger in Paradise?
That's
Uh,
Is that why you were struggling to look for it? I don't know.
no. That wasn't necessarily the case though. But I don't know.
Yeah, the game looks cool. It's from the Yakuza people. Or Yakuza, sorry.
Oh man, I read my thing. I read my list completely wrong. I don't know what in the what. Oh, I was about to jump down into the. Okay, that's the reason why I'm so thrown off. I almost mixed up like this one and the Xbox show. I was like, wait, where the freak is this footage at? No, yeah, I was gonna mention Alien Isolation 2. That one looked kind of cool from Sega and stuff like that. Not too much to say on that, unless you had something to say on it, Steven.
No, I'm good.
All right. Then you had like Project Robot, which remember how that one was dang, what am I
It
doing
was
with my
it was
footage?
so Project Robot was announced at the Game Awards a while back. While you're fixing your stuff. Project Robot, to my knowledge, was announced at the Game Awards a while back by the creator of, I think, Shadow of the Colossus is working on it. Like very esteemed game developer. And the game looks neat and all. It looks like, like you're traveling in like a robot's head or whatever. It's probably gonna be a good game, but it's like I don't know, it's the type of game where it's like, all right, well, once it comes out, it's certainly people see people talking about it, but I'm not really interested until then.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't be me either. I mean, the game looks kind of all right. I don't know if you will actually be doing like some per se like big old like tech boss battles or anything like that per se though. But
Most likely, Shadow
oh,
the
here we go. Here it is.
I keep wanting to say Shadow the Hedgehog. Shadow of the Colossus is known for its boss battles, Zard, where you like climbing on them. That's like the main thing that game is heavily known for, is those big climbing the enemy style boss battles.
Yeah, so I
Um,
mean,
uh,
it might be nice for some people. I mean, for me, it ain't really much of anything though. Then that would take us all the way back to where I was previously, if I can get back to it though. But then I was about to say, oh, they also had that Stranger Than Heaven game, in which case I was like, oh, I didn't really know too much about it, or at least at the time when they were started talking about it though. But then they talked about my boy Snoop Dogg coming up on this thing. I was like, what the freak?
yeah, and then they resurrected fucking Tupac.
I was like, I was not expecting this whatsoever. I was like, what the freak? I was like, okay, we in some crazy wild times right now. I was like, oh shoot.
Yeah, definitely kind of entertaining. I gotta give him that. I don't know. It's probably gonna be a good game. Obviously, I'm sure our friend Hacks will let us know. He's the Yakuza guy in our friend group.
Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see by that point whether or not this game happens to be any good. Yeah, he might like it, but I feel like RNG. Yeah, I think that's RNG Studio. They popped up in this show at least a couple or a few different times with their little logo thing though. So they got at least a handful of stuff that they're actually going through and working on right now at the moment though. So not bad,
Yeah,
not bad. Let's see here. After I had Stranger Than Heaven, the next one on the list was, I believe it was Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced. Now we know that this one is coming out actually, this year technically, and
very soon.
very soon, really. And I was looking at that and I was like, you know what? I kind of out of all the basically out of all of the Assassin's Creed games, that's the one I always hear from most people that they love the most. Or like they definitely say it's like one of their favorites out of the whole entire series though. And you know anything about me, I like myself some pirates, like Pirates of the Caribbean, stuff like that. I got Sea of Thieves on my PS5 and such because I was never gonna buy an Xbox. So once they said that, I was like, oh, I might get it there. Enjoy the heck out of it though. So if I were to mess with any Assassin's Creed game, it probably would be this one. There's just way too much crap that's coming out right now. It's coming out July 9th. And I'm like, okay, there's too much crap coming out, so I don't think I'll be able to get around to it anytime soon. But gosh dang, you know how Ubisoft games they get cheap or whatever though. So if I saw this game for like $30 or especially 20 in the future, I could definitely see myself picking this game up and just trying to give it a whirl just to say, hey, I actually played an Assassin's Creed game before. I saw like one time I think I played it on my cousin's. I think he had it on the one game on the Xbox 360 way back when. I'm pretty sure. I don't know which one that was, but yeah.
Yeah, actually, yeah. Assassin's Creed, from what I've heard, is cool. I don't really care about it, but like I've heard that one is pretty good.
Yeah, so not bad, not bad. I was like, okay. I was like, they're finally trying to capture my attention just a little bit more. All things considered, though. And then I don't know about you, Steven. I got home and I was watching this on a Friday night after I got off of work and stuff like that. I was looking at this woman right here and I was like, what thing is she talking about next? I was like, you can't just stand up there, be pretty, and just saying kind of whatever bullcrap game comes up next. So I was like, what she have next? And I started looking at this tunnel right here, and I was like, oh, we're in the studio, and then I was like, wait a minute, Paramount Game Studio. I paused it right. I literally paused it right then and there because I was like, wait a minute, Paramount Game Studios. That was that thing that Jeff Keighley said. Like, wait a minute. He's like, oh, there's a new studio and they're gonna announce a game at the Summer Game Fest thing. I was like, okay, what we're talking about over here though? Can't be no Avatar related stuff. I was like, all right, whatever, something. I mean, it would have been something if it was from Nickelodeon and stuff like that. Then I saw all of that stuff flashing. I was like, wait a minute. And it was right here at the sewage spot, like looking down at the sewer below. I was like, wait a minute. I was like, there's no way. I rewinded the trailer just like this, got back to her, and played it all over again. I was like, something ain't adding up. Something ain't adding up, Steven. I was like, something's wrong. And I started looking at the water again, and I was like, wait a minute now. And then I started clicking. I was like, Paramount. And then I started looking at this trailer a little bit more, and I saw the weapon fall in that water, and I parked up. Like that one meme of the black dude standing on the yacht with his drink in his hand. I perked up like that. Then I saw Platinum Games and I perked up even more, Steven. And I was like, wait a minute. I saw that sword, and then I saw the sewer, and I looked down at it. I was like, holy shoot. And I was like, the music started kicking in, and I was like, heck yes, this is it. This is what I'm talking about right here, baby. Yes, gosh darn it. Yes, The Last Ronin, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game. It is real, man. Oh, man. I was like, oh, man. I literally like almost kicked the wall. I was like, heck freaking yes. Because this game was teased like 5 whole years ago. We hadn't heard no updates on it ever since then. And then Jeff Keighley's like, all right, here we go. And the fact that now we know it's being made by Platinum Games, I'm ecstatic about this mess. Because for the longest time, I was like, hey, I wish I could see a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game be made. I don't know in the past. I think I might have said Platinum Games or I might have said Insomniac Games or something like that. Because the way how
Insomniac.
I think I might have said either one of those two or I might have said both at any given point. Where I was like, hey, look, I would love to see a game kind of almost like that Spider-Man games that we have like on the PS5, but like New York, and you're like going in the sewers, you're popping out, you're fighting the Foot Clan and all of that stuff though. And I thought it was just a pipe dream, and I just never thought that would never actually happen. And lo and behold, here we go, Platinum Games. I was like, I'm all here for it. That's gonna be a day one game for me. Gosh dang it! I was like, give me this game right now and inject it in my veins. I was like, let's go. I was about to say some stuff about the story, but then again, this is like based on like a small little comic thing. There's not a lot of content for it, or enough content to make a game, obviously though. But it's not like a long running thing like any of the other Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle adaptations where you look at the cartoons or some of the other comic book stuff or whatever though. So I'm not really gonna dive too much in it because I did some digging up on it. You can if you want, but it might be best for some people to go into it completely blind. Just know it's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game that's just really dark, not had that cheesy humor that we kind of know the Turtles for. But I think there's a lot of promise for this game though. All right, that's probably all I can say on it right now, unless I like slightly minorly spoil it for some people out there though. But
Don't
Steven,
do that.
how were you feeling on this?
So it looks cool, obviously. I have a funny story with this game. Me and like all of me and my friends, all of our friends were watching this, okay? And our friend Yoshi, as a joke, the moment that it cut to the sewer, like it just cut to it cut to water, and he just says Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles as a joke. And then the Paramount logo shows up, and he's like, "No." And I say, "Wait a second, it might actually be Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles." And he starts laughing. He's like, "Oh my god!" And then it was, and the moment you see the size and this, all the other weapons, he starts maniacally laughing as we were watching it. I have the recording somewhere. I'll show you that in our off time.
Oh,
It was so funny, Zord.
yeah, no, man, I wish I would have been there to actually react with y'all though, because I would have been popping off. Like y'all probably
Oh,
would have
I
been
know.
y'all wouldn't have been able to hear y'allselves talk over this. Like I would have drowned everything else out. Like that was probably out of all the announcements we got here in Summer Game Fest, that was easily like within the top 3 announcements right there. I was like, I'll just leave it out there though. That was amazing to see that mess. I was like, I didn't know if anything else was going to top it, which kind of there was, but I was like, oh shoot. I was like, yes. I was like, give it to me. And that's all I'm going to say about it right now. I think I rambled long enough. We still got a lot of other announcements to go through though. But overall, nice announcement right there. Last Ronin, nice announcement. All right, so then after that, we're just gonna blast through a few of these things. They had Star Wars. No, before that, Gundam Rogue Orbit. That was made by Bandai. That one looked okay. Oh, stop me, Steven, if for some reason you got something to say about any of these. Star
No.
Wars Galactic Racer. I think that's that Star Wars game a lot of people have been kind of looking forward to. That was like announced, I think, back in the Game Awards of last year. So
Looks okay.
so some people are actually really excited for that, but I'm not necessarily a Star Wars fan, so I was like, whatever. Next notable thing that actually was on my list. Wait, hold up. I was looking at this footage now where I'm looking at. No, okay, no, that was something I already mentioned earlier though.
Okay.
The next bit of notable thing was Virtual Fighters Crossroads, which is coming out in 2027. That was one of the Sega projects that Sega came out and said, hey, along with this, Crazy Taxi, and a couple other things. I don't know why they're slipping my mind right now though. But they said all of
Jet
those
Set Radio.
Jet Set Radio. Yeah, that was the other one. All of those games are going to be coming out here fairly soon though. But seeing Virtual Fighter in action like that wasn't halfway bad. It looks kind of interesting the way how they're handling the single player campaign. I might actually pick this game up and try it out.
Yeah, no, and then it also has, I think, a whole story mode. They said it will have like a fully featured story mode.
Yeah, so like the story mode thing, I think that's what's gonna get me because it's like most of the time some fighting games they do all right or good with just playing the game normally, and then obviously most people when they're done with whatever little small bits of story they have, they'll just go straight into doing battles online multiplayer and stuff like that. That's where most of the breadth of a fighting game is at though. But I mean, the more accurate that you can kind of throw some of your fighting games into like a solid story mode, I think that has like a greater potential for me to kind of stick with a fighting game and at least kind of maybe possibly see it all the way through versus me just playing it for about a month and then moving on to the next thing without really trying to go back and revisit it. But overall, the footage looked good. It really looked clean, and it's definitely different from all the other like traditional fighters like a Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to this. It does come out some point next year, and everything looked pretty clean.
Yeah, it's being. I might have already said it, being made by the Yakuza people at least, or assisted by them,
Mm-hmm.
which is probably just the open world and all that for the story mode.
Yeah, pretty much so though. So that was pretty good. That was pretty good.
Yeah,
I feel like
yeah,
Sega was going to
that's
show
neat.
up at the show in some kind of way. I just didn't think it was going to be Virtual Fighter. I really thought it was going to be Crazy Taxi, or at least at this point in this show.
Well, yeah, we got your wish, but yeah, we'll get to that.
Yep. So that was pretty much it for Virtual Fighters though. And then moving along the list though, you had like Star Wars Zero Company. That was up next. So I was like, oh okay, yeah, shoot.
Just
They had
it's just XCOM, but Star Wars. I'm sorry, did not care.
I know, and it's funny how people were getting excited about Switch stuff, and I was like, they had Switch 2 ads, but that's all you were getting in this show. Oh dear. So you had that. You also had Among Us Story on Guard, which I was looking at that and I was like, what the actual free?
It's nothing. It's exactly what you think it is. It's just a stupid like a little Among Us visual novel esque story mode, and like I don't know, I don't care about it. And then I think while they were here, they also showed the Among Us show finally coming out, which that show has been in purgatory for Paramount Plus for a while.
Yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, so they
Uh,
had that show, they had the little thing. I was like, I don't necessarily think I'm gonna actually wind up getting that the Among Us game. I might watch the show. Didn't they say it was on, you said Paramount?
Paramount Plus, which I've heard the show is good. I heard people like the show. It's funny and all. And I've also heard the first episode is free on YouTube, so you could try it out and see if it's something you
Oh,
might
okay.
like.
Yeah. So I'll probably at least do that. I actually have access to Paramount, but just seeing it on YouTube just makes things at least a little bit easier. A little bit easier though. So I might check that out though. So yeah, not too bad in terms of the Among Us stuff. I finally got actually caught up to the footage though. But yeah, overall interesting stuff with the Among Us stuff. I didn't necessarily think we are gonna get hit up with something like that. Um let's see here. Next up on the list, after we had the Among Us stuff, they did announce some more 007 content with a brand new story. This perked me up a little bit more so too because I just wrapped up 007 First Light. I still would say that that's probably gonna be one of my contenders for Game of the Year. It was just an amazing experience from start to finish. So any kind of brand new story content for a game like that, I'm really looking forward to. And that's all I can't really say too much about it. Otherwise, I'll probably will spoil something about the game. But go out there and try it if you hadn't already. And I know the Switch 2 version is coming eventually if that happens to be your platform of choice.
Cool.
All right. And I know you hadn't played this. I know you ain't got nothing to say on that one, though. So we'll keep
I
it
do not.
going.
I'm sorry.
The next game that was up next, which honestly, I did not even mention it in my own dedicated video for Summer Game Fest, though. But there was a video, or not video, a trailer for the next Shift Up game. And I was like, what the freak? And yes, basically the people that made Stellar Blade, yeah, they're making a brand new game. And it's called
Basically, Stellar Blade 2.
yeah, it's basically Stellar Blade 2. Um even in my notes, I literally had Stellar Blade, dot 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 dot. I can't even remember exactly what the full
I
name was called.
I don't remember the full name, but like it's I don't know. It's something. Uh, I'll probably find it before you do if I just search it. They had
Oh
that
yeah,
weird. Oh
no.
yeah, you're not gonna mention it. They had that weird toy commercial with the Street Fighter toys.
Oh dear no, yeah, I didn't even have
It
that
was
on
fun.
my list.
I thought it was funny. I thought it was funny. Stellar Blade Blood Rain.
Blood Rain. That was it. Yep. Now I got the footage. Here we go. I had to skip quite a bit. There was a little bit of a lull in that little show.
Well, yeah, no, they started good, but then it really, really got slow. But that's besides the point.
Yeah. So honestly, the footage from it looks good. Maybe I'll get into this series a little later on, thanks to something that happened later on in the week, though. But we'll have to wait and see on that one, though. But overall, not bad stuff. Let's see the next project from them. So good on them. Good on them. Next up on the list, I did have Monster Hunter. Which one? Monster Hunter Wilds Ascendance. So basically, you have. Oh wait, did I go too far? Oh, no wonder. It makes it. I'm thinking like I'm almost at the end of this little show thing. No, I'm getting kind of close. Um, the next monster. Dang, that is not the one I want. Whatever. Um, but they did have Monster Hunter Wilds Ascendance, which is basically like a DLC expansion thing for the next Monster Hunter game. So I was like, oh, okay, that was really nice to be able to see that because some people really love the heck out of themselves with some Monster Hunter related stuff, and it was only a matter of time until we managed to get that. So yeah, if you really love yourself some Monster Hunter, you want to get some extra time up in there, sink some extra hours up in it, you certainly can do so here fairly soon. Because I don't necessarily think I wrote down the date of when that actually would drop, but just rest assured we're gonna get that sometime soon. All right. Outside of that, blaster these real quick. Sonic Racing Cross World got more collabs coming. Think you want to say anything on that, Steven?
Yes, I do, because I actually play the game. Evangelion is stupid. What's the other one? Godzilla is stupid. I'm glad they're doing year 2, obviously, for this game. I like the game, obviously, so I was happy to see that. Besides that, I don't know, there's not much to say. It's just they announced that they're doing year 2, and they announced a new Sonic mobile game, the Pico Park thing.
I didn't even know what the heck Pico Park
Pico
was.
Park is an existing game where you're all chained to each other. It's kind of like Knuckles Chaotix, where you're all like attached to each other on like a rubber band, basically, and do like little
Okay.
puzzles. Um, it's okay. Like, I don't have much to say, but like I'm glad this game's getting a year 2. I will definitely play this game for a whole nother year. And like Evangelion is such a weird collab. I'm really hoping that the next couple collabs, because it's always like it's always 6 like collabs for these year-long passes. So I'm hoping we get some other wacky ones. I hope they don't just do a bunch of Nickelodeon ones again, because it was kind of annoying that like how many Nickelodeon ones there were.
Yeah, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles,
Avatar,
SpongeBob, Legend of
SpongeBob.
Avatar. Yeah, that's quite a bit. I mean,
It's
they'll do whatever
it's
to get their stuff out there, but yeah.
more gaming ones would be nice.
Yeah, so that was pretty much it for Crossworlds. Just to confirm, we got some more year 2 related content coming in. I was like, alrighty. And then I always say this: it ain't a gaming show unless you show some kind of anime related something. And for this one, it just happened to be a silly old Attack on Titan. I looked at that mess. I was like, what the freak? Like, that was wild. I did not necessarily have that on my list, though. But I was like, apparently, this is going to be going through, like, the whole story arc from basically start to end. I will say something about the start of that trailer, though, but I really ain't. If you know, you know. If you don't know, well, then just watch the show. Good stuff. But anyway, though, it was kind of weird. So I'm going to keep an eye on this one. I don't think I'm going to pick it up. I'm just curious to see how they make those dynamic fights work because those Titans are like freaking huge. So seeing that mess in the game, but also keeping it relatively close to scale, that's the crazy thing to kind of show off, though. But yeah, Attack on Titan, that was certainly a thing, though. Then you got down, finally, we're getting near the end of the show, to the last 2 final announcements here, though. And Capcom, they decided to show up one more time, baby. One more time. They're like, we ain't done with y'all yet, though. And they managed to come out with some new characters that's going to basically roll in as like DLC waves for Street Fighter 6. And they showed off a few of these characters. I'm looking at this dude Arjun right now. It's like, all right, he looked all right, whatever though. I mean, you get this dude kind of rolling around and kicking around Bosch or Bosch or whatever though. I was like, all right. I was looking at all of them. I was like, They look kind of cool, whatever. No affinity towards them because they're like brand new characters or whatnot, though. And I was like, oh, that's all we're getting for the Street Fighter 6 update. Then they bust out my girl Tifa, and I was like, what the freak? I thought the rumor on the street was that she was going to like Tekken or something like that. I didn't think she was coming over to Street Fighter 6. I was like, oh gosh, dang. So everybody and their mama was like, wait a minute, now we're actually interested. I was like, look, if I was gonna buy any DLC character for Street Fighter 6, because I have this on my PS5, it would be solely for her. I was like, oh, okay, I can vibe with that mess. Let's go.
See, one of the funny parts are Tifa was actually leaked for Street Fighter 6, but the entire rest of the roster that leaked was fake.
That's crazy.
So it was like a bunch. It was a bunch of returning characters plus Tifa. Tifa was the only real one, I guess.
That's one way to kind of play out your little your fake leaks or whatever, just to kind of cover all your loose ends. Oh, that's crazy. They even brought over like one of the main honcho dudes, the director for Square Enix, Naoki. I think that's how you pronounce his name. If I didn't pronounce it right, I apologize. But yeah, they brought him on the stage and stuff to kind of talk about the inclusion of having Tifa in Street Fighter. So that's just really cool to see as like just a guest character in the game though. So I was like, you know what, that was nice. It kind of makes sense to kind of say that for like the second to last announcement though. But I was like, I started looking at Jeff, and I was like, you know what? If that was the second to last thing, what the freak do you have as the very last announcement though? And he was like, all right, we reached the end of the show, y'all. That was good. Thank you for coming to the stage, but I got that one last thing. And I was like, all right, y'all. This is Jeff Keighley's one last thing. Remember the one last thing that happened in the last Game Awards? It was what you call it that shall not be named because it got canceled. High guard. And I was like, all right, how is he gonna improve over that? Did he manage to take some notes? Did he do his homework and stuff? But gosh by golly, I looked at the sky and I was like, wait a gosh dang minute. I looked at the clouds. I was like, this looks kind of like a big, ambitious game. I started seeing those people and I saw the one-wing angel. I was like, heck freaking yes. Let's go. I said this in my prediction. Final Fantasy VII, the Part 3, was going to get revealed in the Summer Game Fest, and gosh by golly, I was absolutely right. We figured out the name of this is going to be called Final Fantasy VII Revelation. And I was like, okay, to finally end off the trilogy, we are getting it, and it's coming out here fairly soon. It's going to be spring of 2027. And then lo and behold, they also said that this is also going to be day and date with pretty much every version. So not only are you getting this on PS5 where it all started on, Xbox Series consoles and Nintendo Switch 2 is going to get this on release day. I was like, heck yes, Square Enix is putting in that work. We got to see, I think, 3 to 4 different trailers that were all kind of split up. They're all kind of showing off, like, for example, you got to see some footage from Sid, who's going to be like one of the newer characters up in the game, though, along with Vincent as well, though. And I'm like, oh, gosh. I was like, I'm very curious to see exactly how well each one of them play. They're all able to make, like, some alterations and stuff, like different character suits and stuff, which will allow you to adapt and play in different fight styles as well. Like, we saw, like, Tifa kind of rocking off a little bit more like materia magic, kind of picking up some, loose flack from one other character. I won't mention it here in case some people hadn't managed to go through and play Rebirth yet, because it just recently came out on Nintendo Switch 2. It's kind of interesting, though, because I was wondering how much footage they were going to show for this, considering how you got people like on Nintendo Switch 2 or like Xbox consoles that are just now getting their hands on the second game in the series and haven't played to the end of that one to kind of know where the third game or the third part is actually picking up on, though. But yeah, crazy way the end off Summer Game Fest right here, though. And I just love seeing like all 3 of these like split up trailers and stuff, and just showing off different parts of the world. Obviously, you're rolling around in the airship and stuff. It seems like you can drop down on basically any point of land and start fighting on. That was just crazy to end off on a note like that.
Yeah, it looks cool. I haven't played the other ones yet, but like, yeah, it looks neat. It's coming day and date to Switch 2, which is crazy. It's good, obviously, that Square Enix is making such a push.
Yeah, and honestly, they need to, considering the fact of how well they changed their business models. Like, all right, we're not really doing like exclusive games anymore. We need to put this game out on pretty much any out of all platforms, so that way we can recoup the cost. Because Final Fantasy VII, that burned like a pretty good chunk of money or a big hole in their wallets. So they had to find a way to kind of recoup some of that loss. So it only makes sense for them to be able to, put a game like that out here.
Yeah, especially because they had, no Nomura over there. It takes 15 years to get a Kingdom Hearts game out. So that's probably eating up the budget.
I know. And I was like, well, hey, at least now we can finally have the conclusion for this. So once this is done, I highly doubt they'll ever, take a game from any other Final Fantasy series or any other property that Square Enix actually owns and split it up into like multiple parts like that. I just know that they ain't gonna do it though. So yeah, so overall, not necessarily a bad show from Jeff Keighley on this one right there. What a way to end it off. So now that's the second one done. What would be the letter grade you will give Summer Game Fest for this one, Steven?
I'm going to give it a solid B plus because I think it started really, really good, and then it kind of meandered a bit. And even though I don't necessarily care about Final Fantasy VII Revelation, I can still say that that's a big that's a big get. That's a big get for your showcase.
Yeah, at
So
least
like, I don't
Jeff
know.
showed up with the bag on this one at least.
Yeah, like this is so much better than the Game Awards, obviously, because it was just game, then game, then game. They didn't really have people go on stage that much and like talk about it too much. They were just showing games. They had, I don't know, it was just a good showcase. Like, yeah, it wasn't spending too long on stuff that I don't care about. And I'm looking at this list, and it was either games we didn't know about, or it was games that we knew very little about. So I can't really complain. It's not like they were showing the fucking fifth showing of Phantom Blade Zero. So there you go. It was already good for that.
Yeah. So overall, I think you said you gave it a B plus. I think I gave this show a B
You just said,
minus.
yeah, whatever you gave it, you just said. So
Yeah, B minus. So yeah, so we averaged out straight up like a B. So pretty good sentiment so far. We said like a D average for the state of play, jumping all the way up to a B average on this one right here. So pretty good stuff right there. Pretty good stuff for Summer Game Fest though. All right, that's two of the shows done. We got two more to go. We're gonna try to keep it rolling here for y'all. The Xbox Showcase was next. That was on Sunday, June the 7th, and it also had a Gears of War E-Day Direct that was being hosted directly right after the fact though. So we're gonna go ahead and jump straight on over here into this next little bit though. But they started off with Gears of War E-Day. And they showed off like what, Steven, like 8-10 minutes worth of footage right out the gate?
so
Or
I'm gonna
something?
be I'm gonna be very, very honest with you. I didn't watch the Xbox showcase. I skimmed through it, and honestly, I'm kind of glad. Well, I'm not. I'm kind of mad that I didn't watch this one live because it was the only one that had shit that really wowed me. Or at least some stuff.
It's kind of funny. I mean, I do all of this stuff no matter how good or how bad these shows are. I always sit down and watch pretty much every single one. You knew you should have too because you still got to be a part of this show. So
No, but like
shame on you for not watching this one.
I seen the stuff that I care about, and you already know I don't really like Xbox. Gears of War E Day looks fine. I don't know. I seen what it looks like. They're trying to go back to console exclusives, but this game will still be on PC. So like, I don't really think it's matters
Well,
that
I mean,
much.
console exclusive. Yeah, it kind of makes sense because technically they had a finished version of Gears of War E Day for the PS5, and they pulled it
Yeah,
out at like the last second. I was
it
like,
is
oh.
it is done. That new CEO is like, can it gone, which is kind of scummy, honestly. Imagine people that just recently got into Gears of War with that thing they did I think a year back, and then
Mm-hmm.
they're told, "Oh, you got to go get an Xbox."
Gotta get an Xbox
After
or PC
just
to run
recent,
this thing. I'm like,
yeah. The game looks okay. I've never played a Gears of War game, but it looks like a realistic shooter. I'll give it that. This is apparently a game with like a $200 million plus budget, so better be good.
yeah. So overall, not a bad way to really start off this Xbox showcase right there. So at least if you're a diehard Xbox, then you had something good to actually chew on and sink your teeth on into right at the very beginning of the show. So not a bad way to get it all off and going here for you though. So obviously, start the Xbox showcase off, and then it was also the same way how they ended it off with the Gears of War EA Direct. If you want to see a deeper dive into the game itself, though, so not
Yeah,
bad, not bad. Next up on
and
the go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I can certainly. I'm looking at some of the footage you're showing. I can certainly respect it because it certainly does look like a fun game.
No, yeah,
It's
it
just,
looks
I don't know.
kind of cool. I mean, if I were to mess with any other series, maybe this one would have been the one to do it with. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see whenever we get closer to its eventual release date, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Asher Sharma, she made herself known. And she's like, we're doing this mess. We're trying to get back to form. I got 2 years or they're going to cut me. So please go out here and buy this game and buy our consoles. Gosh dang it. All right. Anyway, though, that's how they started off with game number one. Game number two, they were hitting you with another Xbox first party game, and that's Fable. And we already known the game was delayed originally. It should have been coming out this year, but because of Grand Theft Auto 6, they pushed it out to February and stuff. Though gameplay on it looks solid. I can just tell that that's probably not necessarily going to be a game that's going to pertain to me. But I was like, whatever.
I could not care less about this game. Remember the last time they showed it and it had that weird like The Office style like camera view? It was like an interview s thing. This game, they've showed this game many times, and each time I get less and less interested in it. Basically,
Hmm.
you there, Zard?
Yeah, no, I was looking at something on the side though. But yeah, Fable looks okay. I mean, it's not necessarily I'm super ecstatic about, but take what you will though, but it's not a bad way to start off their presentation. At least they're giving you some first party games than versus hardly giving you anything, to be honest though. February 23rd, 2027. Look forward to it and play it day one with Game Pass. Man, they play that mess a lot in this showcase. Like, oh shoot. All right, next up on the list I had after that one more first party game for all y'all out there though. Halo Campaign Evolve. That one's coming out next month in the month of July. Obviously, it's just kind of playing off of like the original Halo games, but obviously it's just remake, remaster, whatever you want to call it though. And it's just more of an emphasis on the story campaign versus like the multiplayer itself. So if you love yourself some Halo and stuff, you can actually kind of look forward to this as well. Coming out next month. So not bad, not bad. Do you have anything to say on that one, Steven?
Nah, not really.
Alrighty. Well, that was two things done and out the way though. But now this third one, not third one, this fourth one. Once they got done with that, they were like, all right, that's enough first party games for y'all. So now we're gonna go ahead and jumping on over into some third party releases and such though. So they started going a little bit into all of those. And then they got me peeking. They got me peeking at one point. Cause then I started looking and I was like, alrighty. They started showing off some footage for none other than than some Atlas footage. I perked up. I was like, "This is what I've been waiting for." I knew, gosh dang it, it was gonna be shown off in this Xbox showcase because I predicted it. It happened to come true. Persona 4 Revival. We finally got some more footage for this game, and we thinking got a release date for this one. I was about to say window, but no, an actual date. We know it's going to be coming out in the month of February. And man, it felt so good seeing all of this footage come to fruition because, like, what? It was first revealed in the Xbox showcase last year. And I was like, dang, we really got to wait a long time because they didn't really give a release date for it, though. Now it's like, okay, now the timer can start ticking. I think we got roughly about 8 months until this game will come out in February of next year, though. So I'm really looking forward to this game. I played through Persona 5 Royal. I played through Persona 3 Reload. This is the next one up on the list, even though I already have 4 Golden because I bought a limited edition thing from Limited Run. But there is a limited edition for this game too. And me being a Persona fan I am, I already pre-ordered that mess. I was like 200 and something bucks, but I was like, I'm all here for it though. I got limited editions for 5 Royal and 3 Reload. Gosh dang it, I ain't stopping there. I got to do this. Got to get the music, got to get all the goodies and stuff. Like, this is one of my go-to series. I think I keep saying this over and over here, Steven, though, but I think this is like one of my favorite third-party series of all time. I'll put this up there with like first party like IPs that like Nintendo owns. It's just that good. But yeah, overall, great stuff. That was the first one that kind of woke me up. I was like, okay, this showcase might actually be kind of good. It might be kind of good. Was there anything you want to say
A
on
little
this one,
bit.
Steven?
No, but like yeah, just a little bit good. Just a tiny bit good.
Just a tiny bit, just a little bit, just like just like you just want to barely touch it, just barely kiss it. All right. Anyway, though, so that was it for that. Next up on my little list I had over here, there was like some extra DLC stuff or what I had up on this list, Sea of Thieves, and there's like a custom sea map thing or whatever though. I think there's like some Xbox games that always traditionally get updates, but like between that Fallout, all that kind of stuff. Like they're traditionally showing up in here like time and time again. I'll just go ahead and mention it right now. Flight Simulator is just one of those games that just happens to get updates like that. There we go, Steven. I blasted through three of them right there. Unless you had anything to say about any one of
No,
those three things.
but yeah, it is already midnight, so we're gonna do it when during the Nintendo Direct. We are definitely gonna do a lightning round. Trust me, there's a lot
Oh
we
yeah,
don't have to talk about.
yeah. No, there's a lot. The next meaningful thing I think we had up on here was Doom: The Dark Ages Revelation. That's gonna be coming out in July. And I looked at that. I was like, I did not know that they were actually going to add more DLC for Doom: The Dark Ages, but I'm all here for it. So that way, when I finally get caught up and actually playing this game, it's like one of the only Xbox. Dang, I messed my thing up again. One of the only Xbox games that Microsoft is actually doing that I'm like, okay, I actually, somewhat care about.
Yeah, I don't really like how the promotional art is like showing Doom Guy's face a whole bunch. I don't like when they just show it all the time. Kind of makes it less special. But also, I don't know. I beat Doom the Dark Ages, and I don't really care that much. I'm sorry.
Hmm. Well, okay, okay. I mean, that game doesn't work for everybody per se though, but
Well, you how much have you played?
I think I got like a level or maybe two levels done or
Well,
whatever though.
then there we go. I think that's enough to say what I'm saying. Like, I just think that the game is quite repetitive, and also it's very focused on the shield. So
Yeah.
if I don't know, the DLC is probably gonna be good and all, but like it's way too focused on parries instead of actually like evading combat and high speed gameplay. It's just wait for the enemy to attack and then do your parry, and then you see a bunch of glory kill cutscenes, which they're a lot less interesting when you don't really earn them. It's just easy. Especially, I'm just thinking in my head like Doom: The Dark Ages is definitely the most oriented Doom game, but it's also probably got the worst story. It's just not that interesting with a villain that's really not that interesting as well. And especially for a game that's supposed to show like Doom Guy's backstory, I went out of it with more questions. So the base game just not really that exciting for me. It was still fun, obviously, but I was not really that excited. So this I don't know, man. We'll see. I'll maybe get it.
Alrighty. But yeah, so that's all we managed to get from Dune: The Dark Ages Revelation right there. So nice stuff. The one first party game I actually cared about. I was like, alrighty. But then, and they said that update comes out July 7th. But then next thing they hit us with, Sega showed up again in a different show. Crazy Taxi. We finally got a good look for the first time. Oh man, it's been a long time coming for this series though. I know Hax was ecstatic through the moon. This is the one he probably would have wanted to see live though. But yeah, we got the release date for this game. It's coming out some point in the year of 2027. It seems like you have all the crazy, random wackiness fun that you probably had way back when on the Dreamcast though. But you got anything quick to say on this one, Steven?
It uses AI. We don't really know the extent yet, but it was like, oh, we use AI and then we replace it with assets in the final game.
Mm.
It's probably gonna be cool and all. Like I know people like Crazy Taxi, but just them using AI is a bad precedent. I don't want to continue. You know what I mean?
I mean, I don't think they're gonna stop it. If anything, more companies are probably gonna embrace it. It's gonna be about how do they handle it. Obviously, you can't
We'll
let
see.
AI to make the whole game though. But if it helps speed some things up, that's just what they're really gonna lean forward though. But
Yeah, it sucks.
yeah,
These companies have enough money to make the game the way they're supposed to, but they don't. Either way, Oh, Crazy Taxi looks fine and all. Like I'm glad Sega brought back all these franchises. Obviously, I'm glad they didn't just leave them doing nothing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that was next. Next up on the list, I did have Xbox Series X 25. That had like a limited edition console. It's playing homage to like the original Xbox system. So I was like, okay, that translucent green doesn't look halfway bad. I think more people are going to be trying to get the the controller, and unless you're like one of those diehard Xboxers that went to an event where Asher Sharma's like, oh, everybody in attendance, look below your chairs and look, I'll give you a free one of these things though. Um, that console's gonna be expensive. If there's anything to go off of how the base model's already at $650. I'm just saying though. But yeah, new hardware. Look forward to that if you really want to celebrate Xbox's 25th anniversary. Um,
I think the controller is cool.
yeah, so not bad. And then a couple other things I had in my notes. There was Minecraft Dungeons 2.
Not, I have nothing.
Yeah, I ain't got nothing much to say on that one either. Flight Simulator update. I already mentioned about that just a second ago. And then the next interesting one that I think they had up on the list, which this is where towards the very end of the show where things almost got interesting, except for the very last announcement. The next one they had up was Castlevania Belmont's Curse, which we already saw. We knew it was coming based on like the a previous state of play that happened earlier on in the year though. We do know the release date is going to be coming out October 16th of this year, so we got a few more months to go on that one though. But seeing more footage for the game is always nice. I don't think the gameplay is going to be like extremely crazy long, but I think the cost on this game was it confirmed to be $30, Steven? Do you remember seeing that floating around? I thought I heard about that running around. It's not like a $60 game for whatever this is gonna be, basically.
For which game? I'm sorry, I was doing one thing.
The Castlevania Belmont's Curse.
Yeah, I don't think it's a full price game. Either way, it's made by the people that made Dead Cells. So yes, I am instantly buying this. By the way,
Yeah,
it
I
looks
just
pretty
I
neat.
just don't know where I'm gonna be able to fit that in my schedule. Like, there's too much crap coming. Oh,
It
there
is
it is.
$30.
Yeah, 30. So not bad for just to be $30 right there though. So yeah, so they started to catch my attention a little bit by the time they got to this point of the show. So I was like, okay, you know what? Cool stuff right here. Thank you. Thank you, Xbox, for revealing the release date for this one though. So I was like, okay, yeah, y'all did good. Y'all did good. And then, oh shoot, they said this not this weirdo Studio Ghibli game or whatever though. They got like a couple of these things in the work though. I don't know what that one was called.
Yeah, but that one looks like very low budget. It's like, okay, we're all doing the exact same type of game now.
Yeah, pretty much. Then they hit us with this world premiere. And then I saw Atlas pop up on the logo. I was like, wait a gosh dang minute. I was already standing up, Steven. I was like, no, this can't be it. No, this gotta be something crazy like a Catherine Full Body 2 or something like that. This gotta be something weird and off the wall, like a Metaphor Refantasio or something like that. Like something else completely original though. Well, I saw that color green, I was like, no, there's no way. No, I can't believe it. No, we already got Persona 4 Revival. There's no way, Steven. There's no way. And I was looking at all these graveyards and stuff like this. I was scratching my head. It's like, what the freak is this? It can't be exactly what I did. That's the easy cop out way. There's got to be something else with a twist, something brand new, something fancy or something like that. Heck no. They started lifting up that screen slowly but surely. And I saw more of that green eeriness. It's lightning. It's raining in the background. I looked up at the sky. I was like, oh, shoot. We're going places. You saw random flashes and stuff like that. People's that pointing fingers and stuff like that. Wires, letters, numbers going out the wazoo. And then all of a sudden, bang, it just hits you. That logo, P6, and all that green. I was like, Persona 6. I was like, oh, man. I was foaming at the mouth on this one, though. I was like, oh, gosh, dang. I'm all here for this one, baby. And we know the platforms is going to come out on the Xbox consoles. You can play it on day one with Game Pass, though. I ain't playing it like that on the dying console, gosh dang it. I'm playing that mess on my PS5, though. I was like, yes. I did not think in this showcase we were going to get Persona 4 Revival, which I knew we were going to get, and Persona 6. I thought they would wait until that game was out before they talk about anything. They didn't have to reveal that this game is just announced right then and now. But my gosh, I'm ecstatic through the moon. I'm excited about it. And I'll leave it at that. But like, oh shoot, I was halfway dead after that reveal.
And then they fully knocked you down in the next one.
No, yeah. So yeah, I know you ain't a Persona fan. You need to get on that, Miss Steven. I'm telling you, you're missing out on some greatness, or though. But then I was like, man, I was still trying to recover from that because I know that will be whenever that game comes out. That will be my game of the year of that year. It will take something crazy to dethrone that. And then I saw this purple lettering, and I was still trying to recover from this. I was so excited. I was like, oh, okay, they got this little cute, little friendly old game. I was like, all right, this allowed me to kind of just like calm myself down and stuff like that, though. But then they started spiraling this camera a little bit, and it started getting dark in the sky. I was like, wait, what in the freak is this kind of game? I'm still trying to get over that Persona 6, that Persona 6 thing, though. But I keep seeing all this purple. I was like, what the freak is going on? And then all of a sudden, I saw the feet. They look purple. He zoomed out. I was like, what the freak? My boy Spyro, he lives. He lives. Activision didn't forget about my boy after neglecting him for so long with Crash Bandicoot, the ratchet-looking one. I was like, yes, it's about gosh dang time my dragon brother in arms managed to get a brand new game. And this is essentially like Spyro 4, baby. Man, it's been almost like 2 decades since he managed to get a brand new game. I was like, I'm all here for it, though. That Reunited trilogy, it got its work done. I finally got a brand new game. I probably talked about it in the previous podcast episode when that Reunited trilogy originally came out. I was like, gosh dang, give me a new one. I finally got it. It's going to take flight sometime spring of 2027. I was like, man, you could end it off the Xbox showcase with this, between that and Persona 6. I would have been a happy camper. That would have been it. I would have been like, oh, man, that was it. Was there anything you want to say on that one, Steven?
I haven't played a Spyro game, but I can certainly see how this is a big deal. And I have played games from Toys for Bob before. Played Skylanders from them. Played Crash 4 from them. The moment I played Crash 4, I was like, okay, yeah, they're definitely going to do Spyro.
Oh man, they
And
took
then
their
and
good
look, they're
old
doing
long
it.
sweet. They took their good old long sweet old time up on this mess. I was like, oh shoot. But yeah, for me, and probably also for you as well, that might have been the last exciting thing that was showcased off in this Xbox showcase. Was the very last thing they showed. It made sense for them to close it out with it though. But Modern Warfare 4 or DM2 in parentheses on that one though. They had to show a Call of Duty game to kind of end it off with because they didn't start it with it, and there's not like an Xbox direct thing that's dedicated for that one game. That's basically how they ended off the show though. So overall, not too bad. I didn't mention about Clockwork. That's another first party exclusive game that's going to be, console exclusive. I didn't mention about that game though. But I'm like, okay, that's 2 games that they said is going to be exclusive. But that's pretty much it in terms of all my notes. Was there anything else, Steven, you wanted to mention or point out?
No.
Alrighty. Well, that was pretty much all the announcements that was revealed off in that Xbox showcase. So once again, letter grade for this one. How you feeling?
I'm going to give it probably a B plus as well. Because there's a lot I didn't care about, but then there's a couple where I'm like, I wish I watched that live.
Okay, yeah. For this one, I think I gave this one. You said B plus. I actually gave this one a C plus. I mean, the stuff that was in it was great. Persona 6 for me. I like seeing Crazy Taxi, Virtual Fighter, and all of that stuff, though. Persona 4 and Persona 6 is definitely keeping it high up there for me, though. But everything else, it was kind of like, it was kind of mixed, but it wasn't necessarily a bad show not to watch. It was still kind of entertaining. I just remember watching it on my phone as I was about to go eat somewhere or something like that on that Sunday, though. But overall, not too bad, though. So I guess we average out. It's still like a B minus or like a straight up B if we average out all of our stuff though. So not bad.
B minus, yeah, about a B minus. Which yeah, it's not as good as Summer Games Fest, but
Yeah, not as good. All right, and that's pretty much it for everything that we knew that was supposed to come. And then Nintendo at the 9th hour was like, hold my beer. Hold my beer. This ain't fake E3 season unless we go last and we go out with a traditional bang. Because on that Monday, right after Xbox Showcase, they said, hey, look, tune in for a Nintendo Direct on that Tuesday. And I was like, oh, gosh dang, we getting it now, baby. Oh, we're certainly getting it now, though. And I was like, oh, I'm trying to tune in to the right little. Dang it. I was trying to get my little footage here, though. But yeah, so Nintendo Direct was was basically the next one up to bat. And for this one, it wasn't just a direct. The direct was like 50 minutes long. And on top of all of that, they managed to also hit us with a Nintendo Treehouse that was going to be coming right after the fact, though. So I was like, oh, okay. So we're in for a good time. The Treehouse, how long was that, Steven? Like an hour and a half, roughly?
Yeah, but it was nothing. It was really nothing.
Yeah, so overall, not necessarily bad. So now we can go ahead and jump straight up into this footage here, though, because man, this was probably the most hyped and most anticipated one out of all the different things that we got. Where I was like, you know what? Let's go, baby. You know, kids had their fun. Now it's time for a real man's game, though. The Nintendo Direct, baby. So I was like, what are they gonna start off with? They started with my boy over here, Koizuma, talking. And I was like, all right, the first game is gonna set the tone for the whole entire showcase, right? Like that's how we kind of know Nintendo to be. But once they only popped up the Nintendo Switch logo right here, I was like, oh, wait a minute. And the very first game on the list, Rhythm Heaven Groove. Which I was like, I was kind of curious about the game. I wasn't sold on it until after what we got in this and the Treehouse footage, though. But the fact they started off with this, I was like, oh, it's gonna be one of those controversial directs. Yeah. I was like, and usually the controversial ones are the ones I enjoy the most. So I was just kind of snickering to myself. I was like, oh man, here we go. But what did you think about the Rhythm Heaven Groove stuff? Like, I thought it was really nice. I'm really looking forward to it.
I like what I'm seeing, but like I just did not understand starting with this game and like doing a big spotlight when they've showed it a couple times. It's like I'm fine with it. Obviously, it's like whatever. But like I don't know. I already bought it. You don't have to do anything else, Nintendo. I'm good. But like, hey, I'm glad it's got a decent amount of content in it. I'm glad we got some clarification about some things. Just starting the direct with it is definitely a tone setter, and hey, it lived up to that. It lived up to that. That's all I'll say right now.
Yeah, it sure enough did though. So I'm really looking forward to this game. It comes out July, I think 2nd. Basically, the first few days of the month of July. That's when the game's coming out. Exclusive to Nintendo Switch. So if you got a Switch or Switch 2, you should be able to play this game with no problems whatsoever though. That's the first party game that they managed to start off with. And I like how they have like a single player campaign and the fact they have like multiplayer stuff up in here though too. Really nice stuff. First third party game they managed to show up in here was another look at Onimusha, The Way of the Sword. We saw gameplay footage of this originally in the state of play. So for the sake of time, we'll just kind of keep this show on and moving now. Capcom wasn't done just yet, though. They also had Dragon's Dogma 2 stuff that they said, hey, we're bringing this game over here to the Nintendo Switch 2 as well, though. So if you happen to love that, you can look forward to that as well. Were you excited about that one, Steven? No, probably not.
It's okay. Like it looks it's just a lot of games. I'm looking at this list. It's a lot of games we already knew about. Just it's coming to Switch 2, guys. Here's a lot, and the pacing. I'm just gonna say, pacing in this direct is terrible. They spend like a minute each on these games we already know about. Maybe 2 minutes. I don't know. It's like
I felt like pacing. I felt like pacing was still kind of quick. Like it didn't feel like they stayed on any one announcement for too long. Like that Dragon's Dogma 2 thing alone was like less than a minute. It wasn't too
fair enough.
Long, but
then Stellar. Okay, and and then they showed Stellar Blade next, which Stellar Blade, certainly a cool announcement to be coming to Switch. I did not expect that personally. Because I don't even know if I forget if this game's on PS4. I thought it was only PS5.
No, it was only PS5. Yeah.
And like it looks like a decent frame rate and all that on Switch 2. Everything like it looks good on Switch 2, which is honestly surprising. If they do like some kind of demo, I will definitely try it out. I'm fine with that one. And then what? Rayman Legends Retold is next.
Hold on, you're moving too quick. I didn't even get to say my stuff about Stellar Blade.
It's okay, fine. Yeah, say your stuff.
Yeah, because Stellar Blade, it was. I know you're moving quick, you're moving a little too fast, but whatever. Stellar Blade for me, I never really got into the series, and now seeing it come over to the Switch 2, as long as it performs well and stuff, I'm genuinely curious about this series now. So I actually might actually mess around with it from Shift Up and see what's all the rage about, because I know Mario got his hands on this game a while back. I feel like he's the only one out of our group that actually played this game. So I was like, all right, you know what? Maybe it's about time for me to mess around with it. If I like this, then I can go into that sequel that also got revealed at Summer Game Fest, though. So not bad seeing Stellar Blade up in the list, though, here. Next up on here, Rayman Legends Retold. Oh, well, they did have this weirdo like Studio Get Orbitals game. Yeah, that's like the millionth time they show that. They also had Rayman Legends Retold. Obviously, they first showed it off at the State of Play. They just also had it here to confirm that, hey, you know what, this is coming to the Nintendo Switch 2. So if you have a system for this, you can definitely look forward to that as well, though. So I was like, oh, okay, that's nice. I'm just seeing it confirmed for more platforms. So this might be my go-to pick for Rayman Legends, though. So I was like, all right, here, not bad, not bad. After that, you got some weirdo indie games. I was like, what the freak? This little stuff like this, Steven, that's on the screen right here. That's what kind of kills the pacing for me, at least a little bit, though. Until then, you show off. I told y'all this once before. It ain't a gaming showcase unless you got some weird old anime game up in here. And lo and behold, here we go at One Piece in a and almost like an 8-bitish style.
A mobile game. It is basically a mobile game. And you want to know the worst part, Zard? They put this on a fucking game key card in Japan.
Oh, they did?
This is like a 300 megabyte. This is a 300 megabyte game.
Hey, if
just
it's
do
that
a Switch
small,
1 version. Just do Switch 1 version. Don't even do a fucking Switch 2 version. What is
look,
this?
People like the Switch 2.
Oh, okay, people like the Switch 2. Well, guess
people
what?
People like anime. People like One Piece.
Put your game key card in for your 300 megabyte download, and you're gonna
like it. At that
point,
you should just be buying the game digital. You're getting too frustrated about a game that I was trying to keep it short and simple and sweet. But whatever.
They didn't keep it short and simple. They showed it for fucking way too long.
Oh man, you want to talk about it for way too long. Anyway, no, that comes out October 23rd. All right, next up on the list, we managed to have POPCULTURE. Now, I think this one, everybody in the mama was fully expecting this to get some kind of DLC or something like that, some kind of update, though. And it looks like it's like completely underwater with this. They gave you a free update that's going to be coming out here fairly soon. And then they gave us an expansion pack where it's like, hey, you're actually able to go and there's like 3 waves of DLC. Like some that's like relatively sometime soon within like the next month or two. Another update hits around holiday season, and one hits around beginning of next year in 2027, though. So yeah, if you're really loving the heck out of this game, you felt like you almost did everything that you possibly could do in this game. We got even more stuff in store for you here, though. So that's just kind of nice to see, though. I don't know, maybe that will eventually get you to go back to the game. And that free update hits in like August of this year. Anything on this, Steven?
We'll go back to the game eventually. It's not that I don't like the game. I liked what I played. I just have a lot coming out, and I don't know. This update is certainly cool. It's gonna expand the game, and a lot of people are gonna play it a lot more because of this. The expansion pass is $35 on top of an already $70 game, which is certainly a lot, especially because it's releasing in these parts.
Yeah, August, late 2026, and some point in 2027. Yep. Part 1, Part 2, Part 3.
It's certainly not my favorite way of doing it, but, you know, whatever. I'm sure it will be good and all. I know people like this stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, so you had the POPCULTURE thing, though, so that was pretty nice. Then, this is where I perked up. I saw that map, I instantly perked up. I heard the music and everything, and I saw the environment go from the map to the world setting, and that one dude at the games. This is my segment of the show. This is what I was waiting for. All right, I didn't even really need to put on my prediction list because I knew without 100% shredded out, this was going to show up. Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave. I was like, yes, show me all that good footage, baby. Show me it. And then I'm looking at all 4 of the main people that showed off in like the direct we had. Oh, golly, 9 whole months, Stephen. 9 whole months. September of last year, though. I was looking through all 4 of these characters, though. I was like, all right, you basically got the boy. You got Alucard, basically, from Castlevania up in here, though. You got Theodora, dang, she's looking fine. Then you got Leda over here, dang, she's looking fine though too. You got 2 fine women on the box art. I was like, heck yes, let's go. So you got all of them. I love the diversity up in here. I feel like the game's really speaking to me though. I'll leave it at that. But overall, the game looks visually stunning. I feel like it has the bones of Engage in terms of like the fluidity of how the game should be flowing. But obviously, you still got the same art style direction because it's made by like the character art is made by like one of the same people that did Three Houses art. So I'm not gonna feel the same way how I did it Engage with this one. I'm like, thank goodness. I mean, the fact that yes, we also managed to have the same dragon girl that was in Three Houses in this one, but looks older. I don't know way how the timeline plays out or whatever.
Sothis?
Yeah, Sothis. And I knew when I saw her in that very first trailer, I was like, thank goodness we're back down to form. I even saw in some of this gameplay footage, one of the characters was running around and opened a chest. So I was like, wait, they're bringing back dungeons from Fire Emblem Echo Shadows of Valentia on the 3DS? I was like, let's go. They got a little bit of almost every single one of these like recent games that we had within like stuff back to the 3DS all the way where we're currently at right now. It's like a hodgepodge of everything that they did good. I'm like, I'm all here for this mess, though. Don't have to wait long. They did give us a release date for this game. It does come out September 17th, if I think I remember that right.
Yes, that is correct.
So, yeah, that was really good. And it also seemed like this last little bit of footage and stuff from the second half of this trailer, though. And they show off, like, 2 mysterious, like, angel-like people or whatever. I was like, wait, what the freak? I was like, I don't even know how they play off in the story though. I'll leave it at that because honestly, I need to sit down and make like a video just kind of talk about all the little bits up in here though, because there's a lot to dissect out of that trailer though. But honestly, really great stuff. 2 side tangents. I guess I'll rewind the footage back though. But 2 side tangents. We're not gonna get too deep up in this, Steven, though. They did manage to drop out a limited edition for this game. It's like $120. I was already prepared. I was like, Nintendo, take my money and take my wallet. I was already ready to throw them the credit card. I was like, give me that mess. I did get it pre-order on Best Buy. I did get it on Best Buy, so I was all right. But it wasn't until you pointed this out later, because I guess from the timing of when I was trying to watch the direct, because I was trying to watch this thing at work whenever this thing aired. This is Nintendo's second game that's an $80 game. And I was like, it doesn't fate me personally too much because I was always planning on paying more because I knew I was going to pay a limited edition. Even if they did an $80 game, it's Fire Emblem. There's going to be a lot of content up in here. I'm going to get my bang for my dollar's worth. But I'm looking at the greater interest for the whole entire series. So I still want the series to grow. I want more people to fall in love with Fire Emblem like how I did all them years ago back with Fire Emblem Awakening on the Nintendo 3DS. Having this game be an $80 game is going to be a very tough pill for people to swallow. Some people might say, hey, you can buy the game for $70 physical while it's on pre-order like on places like Amazon and Walmart. And to that, that's nice, but that's not the longevity because once this game comes out, it's going to go back up to 80. And that, I don't know how I feel about that.
I don't... Like, you could say whatever you want about how the game looks, but it is not an $80 game with how it looks. It does not look like an $80 game. It should not be an $80 game. Like... No game should be $80, obviously, but like this game, specifically this game, should not be $80. You could, no matter what amount of content it has, it should not be $80. Especially after they're doing this variable pricing thing. No, make it 60 digital, 70 physical. I would be mad about it, but like, I would be mad that I'd be paying 70, but I would at least understand, oh, okay, the game's valued at $60, like most other games. Fine. Especially because Fire Emblem's not one of their big series. No, Fire Emblem is apparently enough to go toe-in-toe with fucking Mario Kart World.
Which
physically, and you can make the argument, oh, on digital it's this and that.
It's 70 digital, yeah.
Fact of the matter is, I feel like a lot more people, like a lot of people are gonna get swindled into buying this game physically when it's 20 something gigabytes. It's not even that many.
It's 25-ish or so.
Yeah.
Which honestly, it's the biggest Fire Emblem game based on storage size. Like that blows Three Houses out of the water in terms of the file size. Which I know there's gonna be 4 routes. It could be more of a hidden thing considering how Three Houses also worked as well though. But if you're able to play through each one of these campaigns in a similar timeline period that you were able to do with Three Houses, you're easily looking at 80 to 100 hours worth of gameplay up in this thing, which for me would be worth it. But not everybody and their mama, I do understand, is going to sit down and play all these routes like how I am.
And I can't tell. Is this game 60 FPS
It's
on your end?
60. It's 60.
Good, good. I'll give it that. I don't get it, man. $80. I'm gonna stop talking about that because oh my god, it's already 12:30. But
I know. That's what I'm saying, though. So overall, I'm ecstatic through the moon. I'm really excited about it. Questionable decisions of it being the second $80 games, which also brings in the fact future implications of what other games could be 80, because with Fire Emblem being 80, that lowered the bar in terms of all of Nintendo's first party games. Because I was thinking of Cream of the Crop getting 80, they lowered that down. So there's the other games that was announced later on in the showcase that now I'm like, okay, that's got to be 80 as well. And they're valuing Fire Emblem at 80, so just be prepared, y'all. Be prepared. This ain't going nowhere anytime soon. That was it for Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave. Next up, you had some weird stuff. And Jala too. I wasn't gonna mention that. DK Challenge. They had like some limited time event stuff where you're able to go through and do like challenges. They almost make it seem like there's achievements like things kind of going on, and for the classic stuff for these games, for Donkey Kong Country 1, 2, 3, the arcade versions of Donkey Kong and stuff, and then even doing some modern day stuff with Donkey Kong Bonanza and stuff. I feel like this is just like more like a tease or a test to see if Nintendo's even gonna do anything with like achievements and stuff. Like they give you like nice little art cards and stuff you can see in the NSO app. They're running these for like a limited time. That's kind of, I feel like this is like more like a beta test than anything though. But I do like the extra Donkey Kong love that they still continue to put out there though. Outside of that, I don't really got much more to say on that unless you do, Steven. I did like all the classic ones. I just didn't mess with any of the Bonanza stuff. But some of those challenges are insanely hard. And you can do these challenges between now and up to September 1st.
two things. One, I I do like that they're doing this, but it should not be limited time, and they should do more of these because I like the presentation. I like how they actually show you how to do it, like a little video on how to do it, in case you don't know. Um, some of those Bonanza ones are extremely hard, like beating the final challenge of the game without any skills. They do some. I watched the video. They do some fucking speedrun shit. They do speedrun shit.
Mm-hmm.
It's really entertaining, honestly, watching it and doing. I did it, by the way, and it's hard. So yeah, if you like Donkey Kong Bonanza, go try those challenges. They're a nice test of skills.
Oh yeah, no, that's the next one I have up on the list to do at some point when I'm just chilling. I got some extra, spare time to, play around with and whatnot though. So overall, not bad. Getting some new DK love here. Um, for all of the announcements we managed to get though. So that was pretty nice. They also did manage to hit us with a Donkey Kong anniversary thing where it's like, okay, this is what we're doing with the Mario's 40th anniversary, putting DK with a Mario hat and Pauline with a Luigi's hat. Not much more to say about that except for the fact that it's just limited time with DK Island Emerald Rush. They got little ways of times when they're doing all of this mess. Outside of that, that's pretty much it. What more can I say? What more can I
Yeah, I
say?
don't know. It's got a really good remix of like Emerald Rush theme mixed with the Mario theme.
Hmm. Well, I'll give
It's
it a
it's
say.
it's it's I don't know. It's nothing though. It's really a nothing.
All right, yeah, not too much to kind of chew your teeth on, especially considering the fact that when it's down and they take it down, like how they strip most anniversary stuff, that's is what it is, though. But yeah, and then after that, they kind of hit us with some more random old announcements, like Lords of the Fallen. That I don't really actually honestly care about too much.
Um, Devil May Cry 2 is oh, it's Devil. Sorry, not Devil May
You
Cry
said
2.
two.
Devil
Devil May Cry
Devil May
Five.
Devil May Cry 5 on Switch 2 is pretty cool because it is 60 FPS and like it looks like it's a pretty competent version of the game, and it will be getting. I think it will be getting a physical eventually. I don't know if it's game keycard or real physical, but it
Probably
comes
key
on
card.
digital. It comes in digital only in like a week. It comes out in like a week or something, and it's like 60 FPS from what it looks like, and like that's really cool. It looks like a really nice looking game.
Yeah, so I mean, once again, Capcom's like, look, we love everybody. We're gonna put everything out, whether it be new, older stuff. We're just sharing the love with everybody though. That's just the
Good.
main thing. Yeah, June 23rd is when the game's coming out for Nintendo Switch 2, the digital version.
All right, good to know. I'm gonna keep that in my mind.
Yeah, so honestly, it looks pretty nice. Looks pretty nice. After that, I had to skip forward just a little bit though. Oh, a little too far. Next up, this part right here, it had me excited to say the least, Steven. I started perking up. Because I was like, heck yes. I saw Xenoblade Chronicles 1, 2, and 3 with Nintendo Switch 2 editions. I was like, wait a minute, Monolith Soft. You're trying to give me the appetizer, the main course, and the dessert all at the same gosh dang freaking time. I was like, let's freaking go. I was like, what all did they do with these changes for all three of these games? Obviously, all three of them, they run at 60 FPS now. Resolution's all the way up to 4K. As you see that comparison with her on the screen right now, you can see how that resolution looks that much better, though. And they put in some, I was about to say slice of life, but put in some modern conveniences and stuff like that, some ease of access stuff. Like now you can ride on these little things that allow you to zip through Xenoblade Chronicles 1. It's like little motorbike little thingies or whatever, go over water or land and stuff like that. They let you do that for Xenoblade Chronicles 1. Xenoblade Chronicles 2, during certain points of the games, they actually let you control the blades, like how you're able to control the blades in like Torn of the Golden Country with certain stuff. I was like, oh shoot, that's actually really nice. I love that.
Yeah.
And then Xenoblade Chronicles 3, they had like little like mini, almost like boss rushes, but not quite. But it's like more like a top
down mode. And like, here's the thing. I'm really excited for these. I was going crazy when they announced them. I was worried that they were going to be like the Xenoblade X Switch 2 edition, where they would have issues, and they do have a couple small issues. But overall, it's not nearly as bad as the Xenoblade X definitive edition thing, where that was like the AI upscaling was terrible. It's genuinely better looking on Switch 1.
Yeah.
But no, so Xenoblade looks pretty good, and the 60 FPS is so nice for Xenoblade 1, which I did try it a little bit.
So you are, yeah, so you bought it. Okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking about maybe getting that one because I own Xenoblade Chronicles 1 digitally. So I was like, man, I probably should buy a physical version of this, but the physical version doesn't release until like the end of July, like July 30th. So I was like, I might hold out until that point and just fork out the money and just to say, hey, I got a physical version of this one. 2, I'm a little weird on that one because I already had the game digital and physical on my Nintendo Switch. So I was like, I probably should have just do the upgrade path, or do I really care about it to get the game for like a full retail price for a third time? I'll have to wait and see on that one. Xenoblade Chronicles 3, if I get that one, I'll be content with probably just getting it the $10 upgrade. Unless I just feel like, you know what, for the sake of the collection, I'm just getting all of them physical for the Switch 2. Gosh dang it. I don't know. It depends on how I'm feeling by the time Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is about to almost come out. We will wait and see for that. But yeah.
Either way, I'm not gonna get any of them physical, but I'm gonna buy all of them.
Oh, okay. So you're just gonna pay the $10 those 3 times. Yeah, that's not bad. Not bad at all. Oh yeah, and the Xenoblade Chronicles 3 stuff that comes out in December, whereas 2 comes out in July 30th or October 1st for the physical. So I was like, okay, that was good. Monolith Soft, you knocked it out of the park. I was like, I don't need anything else. I was like, look, that's beautiful. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 probably needed this the most out of 1 and 3, because 1 and 3 still look pretty solid on the Switch 1, but 2, it needed some work. Thankfully, they managed to come through with that. I'll probably go through and replay that game again. It's on the bucket list. But then, Koizuma, you slide dog, you said Monolith Soft got something else to work on. I was like, what? And I was at work. I accidentally kicked the wall because I was trying to jump out of the chair. We got the 4th Xenoblade game revealed in this thinking showcase, though. It's called Xenoblade Genesis. And they showed us like a solid 2 to almost 3 minutes worth of gameplay stuff and cinematic cutscenes. I was like, I did not have this on the bingo card. I knew Monolith Soft was working on something, but I didn't think they would, reveal it to us. Barely coming out of the first year of the Switch 2 being on the market like this. I was like, Monolith Soft, you gave me breakfast. You gave me breakfast. You gave me brunch. You gave me lunch. You gave me dinner. And you gave me dinner and the midnight snack all into one in this little showcase thing, though. Which other developer out there, Steven, from Nintendo or any other first-party stuff from like even Sony, Xbox, whatever you want to say, that's able to give you a Xenoblade Chronicles X Switch 2 edition, a Switch, or Xenoblade Chronicles 1, 2, and 3 Switch editions, and turn around and say, hey, here's the latest project that's also going to come out next year. Not 2 years from now, not 3+ years now, a whole year roughly for the next one. I don't know any other
Yeah,
developer that's able to do all of that in that window time
I
frame. That is crazy.
no, I don't know. I've seen it. First of all, Zard, I have seen it before. Second of all, these Switch 2 editions are probably stuff they've already had done for a while. You got to remember that, like, let's be honest, they haven't actually made a big thing since Xenoblade 3's DLC in 2023. Xenoblade X Definitive Edition definitely did not take that much time. I know it has new content, but still. The Switch 2 editions are very obviously just, oh, we used AI upscaling and we messed with the code a bit and now it's running at 60. I
But
don't
then
know,
again,
it's,
they did have to add in those new features that aren't just like the upscaling to get the game,
yeah,
running at a smoother
yeah,
frame rate and higher resolution.
like, yeah, and I'm glad they did some of that stuff. Like voiced heart to hearts in the first game are really fucking cool to have. Like I'm glad they did these upgrades, and it's certainly a lot better than the Xenoblade X upgrade. But like I don't know, it's that, and then yeah, Xenoblade Genesis. I guess I just wasn't nearly as excited to see Xenoblade Genesis because like, well, I'm excited in retrospect now that I've been looking at more stuff about it. It looks very Fire Emblem, which I'm not really sure if I like, but like people are saying, oh, that school is definitely gonna blow up like an hour into the game, and yeah, I could see that.
I
I could
mean,
that
yeah.
that's totally a Xenoblade thing. Start off in a school, school's gone like halfway through the first chapter, and then them your teammates go on an adventure.
Yeah, I mean, there's a good chance that that can happen. I mean, we've seen that multiple times in Xenoblade games where it's like, all right, you're in this hub area or you're reporting back here for a few different missions, and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, when you leave, that's it. You better be ready. And it's just like, all
Yeah,
right, you lost access to that. Move on with the story. So overall, great stuff out of this footage. I'm probably gonna sit down and rewatch it just a handful of more times to make sure I didn't miss anything. Because like Xenoblade or not Xenoblade, like Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave last year, we're gonna be sitting on this trailer for quite some time before we see new stuff on this. It wouldn't be until like the February direct, if there is one in February at the earliest, is when we'll probably see any more stuff on this game. So yeah, we got some waiting to do before we see anything else though. But at least we got some Xenoblade Switch 2 editions that kind of keep us tied over from, at least for the time being. And look, if you're new to the Xenoblade series, start off with 1, then do 2, then 3. That's going to keep you well entertained in all the lead up to Xenoblade Genesis. It's not like you're probably going to have to play those games, but if you're curious about those games, if you never played them before, I highly recommend them. They're great JRPGs. All right. Well, now with all that out of the way, that was probably like one of the biggest major highlights of the show for me personally, though. Seeing that Xenoblade Genesis on the screen, though. But he's like, take a look at this. He swing that arm over Koizumi, you sly little dog, and they confirmed that hey, we got a new sports game coming out here, Switch Sports Resorts, baby. I was like, I like how we joked about this in the Discord call. Before like this Nintendo Direct actually happened. Lo and behold, they did manage to give us more additional sports to play along with. 12 to be in fact. Obviously got some new ones like the motorboat riding one. I like to think about it as like wave race. That's all it essentially is. The newly interesting thumb war. I don't know why in the thumb wrestling that they managed to show that one off with Koizumi playing it, but there were some cool, interesting memes from it to say the least. Though, you also got table tennis, boxing, archery, and I feel like a few other things, along with returning sports like traditional tennis, traditional bowling, stuff like that. One of these days they'll put baseball back up in this mess. I don't know when, but yeah, volleyball and some other stuff though too. So not bad. How do you feel
it's
about this one, Steven?
like I'm gonna get it, but like I'm not really too excited about it, especially because it just looks like a worse version of Wii Sports Resort. It will have online and all that, but it's still gonna have these stupid ass sports mates. Woohoo Island is back, but it like looks pretty different. So like, why even call it Woohoo Island at that point? And it's still got all the sports mate stuff all over the place. This certainly looks like a Switch One game that got pushed over the Switch Two, hit halfway through development. Like visually, it's not really that exciting either.
I mean, it
Like
might just be partially with the art style though too. I don't think you
like
can go much crazier than this.
this is the perfect game for like an actual good direct. It's like, oh, okay. It's like, wow, that game happened, but hey, the rest of this direct is so cool. So like, it's not, at least I expected that, but it's not the only decent thing. But then you have they show thumb wrestling for 2 minutes, and then this direct already basically had nothing.
Yeah, I mean, It's
If you're
pretty
an
solid.
RPG fan, you must, you're gonna love this direct. But if you're, yeah, I like RPGs, but even then, it's like, wow, way too much shit that I could not care about, and way too much shit that is not new. I think basically every fucking game in this direct is a recycled version of something else, except for Xenoblade Genesis. All right, let's keep going though,
Yeah,
because oh
so
my god,
Switch
it's late.
Sports Resort, October 22nd. You can look forward to picking the game up then. I'm looking forward to it. I probably will pick up the game too because I know Sonic and a few of y'all other people, and I also know one of my other friends and that I know from college. He's excited about this game. He wish it would come out next month. The casual fans, they don't play around with some of this mess like that. I'm just saying though. But yeah, overall, great stuff. I wasn't expecting that though. I certainly wasn't expecting it. Next up on the list after that, they did give another good look at Star Fox. They did confirm, hey, here's more additional footage for it, and we got a demo that's coming out, and you're actually able to play that mess right now. So, hey, if you love yourself some Star Fox, you can kind of mess around with that. I already messed around with the demo and stuff. From everything I played from the demo, it's pretty solid. I love the way how it visually looks and how fluid it is with the gameplay being 60 FPS. So try it out if you're curious. You don't have to make the plunge and commit the $60 or whatever, or 60/50 to buy or play this game out though. But anything on Star Fox, Steven, real quick or not really?
Played the demo; it runs pretty well, but it's I could not really care.
Alrighty. Well, that was some good stuff right there. Next up on the list, oh man, I predicted something from Square Enix will happen, but I didn't think it was going to be this. We got ourselves a brand new HD 2D game. I knew I probably should have expected the next HD 2D something, considering how we have Adventures of Ellie that's about to come out literally like 3-4 days from now. And then we wouldn't have known what would be the next project. Now we got it. It's called Final Fantasy Resonance. And it's the first Final Fantasy game that's actually gonna be done in the HD 2D style. So if you're a fan of like Final Fantasy 1 through 6, a lot of y'all fans are going to be leaping out in joy. Me just being an HD 2D fan, because I literally bought every single HD 2D game you can almost ever get. I'm ecstatic through the moon on this one. You're riding on chocobos. They got guest appearances and stuff from like characters like Cloud from Final Fantasy 7 or like Titus and stuff from like I believe Final Fantasy 10, and then some other stuff like I know some Dragon Quest 9 related stuff up in there though. Yeah, like Steven said before, he was feeling salty about all these RPGs or RPGs in general though. But me as an RPG fan, I'm getting too much. I'm almost getting overwhelmed over here. It's too much between all these different showcases though. Comes out October 22nd. Don't even gotta wait that long on this though. I was a heck yes. And it's like based on a mobile game or has the bones or the structure for it though. But they expanded upon it, turned into like a whole, console like, RPG though. So I'm really looking forward to this game when it does come out though. I'm really excited about this. I know Steven, you ain't, unless you got something about 2 cents to say about this RPG.
I think some of the pixel art looks really fucking off, and some of it looks okay.
All right. Could have said worse, but I'll take it. I'll take it.
Well,
Nick,
yeah. What do you want me to tell you? Like, I
I
don't know.
ain't no no no. You ain't
Some
gotta
of the
say
pic,
nothing else about it.
some of the pixel art just doesn't really look all that good, but like it looks fine. The game looks fine. This is a mobile game, right? This is a game that already came out, and
Now,
just
so it's based upon a mobile game that has came out and has shut down since then. So like the
okay,
story and the world building, they took some of those elements on that, but then fully so imagine taking the bones of something and then fully fleshing it out and
making
making
it a
it,
real game.
yeah, a real game that you would play on console. That's kind of what they did with this game. So yes, I'm really looking forward to this one. That's gonna be one of my highly anticipated October games though. So October 22nd for that one. So I'm like, yeah, give it in my veins right now. They also have like Dragon Quest Monsters. I know people like Santa Q and stuff. They're going to be excited for this game though. They actually did manage to get the release date for this one though. December 3rd. I feel like the last Dragon Quest Monsters game they dropped it out in December. If my memory serves me right though. But yeah, cool stuff from that. And then next up, the Dust Bloods. This is where the event, or not the event, where the whole entire showcase started getting kind of interesting, but not necessarily the good kind of interesting, because we managed to get a little bit of looks up on this, but it didn't go really deep at all. They said there's a summer network test that's going to be playing out some point this summer. I imagine probably maybe later on in July or something, early August. And that's it. They still saying the game's coming out in 2026. No additional footage. And I was like, wait, what? I was like, that's interesting. If I had to take a guess, the game should come out in the month of October at some point.
I think it's getting delayed.
But I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. I mean, it said come in 2026. They're still feeling somewhat confident. I don't know. But yeah, was there anything else you want to say on that one? Since they didn't really give us much to go off of, really.
I don't like how we didn't get a date for anything. This whole direct is the definition of vague posting. Like, oh my god. Like, oh, no date for the test, no date for the game. Boom. Have fun. Hardly shown any new footage, by the way. Just hope it's still coming.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, that was it for that. So a little questionable, but I was like, all right, well, we'll keep it on rolling. Next up, they managed to show off more footage for Splatoon Raiders, which they also showed it off a little bit more extensively in the Treehouse footage as well. So it was nice me going through and really trying to do a dive up on this one because I'm really looking forward to this game when it comes out like late July ish. And there's a lot of stuff up in this game, a whole lot more than probably what we got time to talk about here in this podcast episode right now. I
Yeah,
honestly
we can
probably could make
always
a video
talk
on it
more
later,
another time.
but honestly, the footage they showcase off on this was really great. I'm static through the moon. They got a lot of abilities and stuff. The fact your sub weapons, normally you only have like one sub weapon in like a Splatoon 3 game or 2 game. You basically effectively got two, but they're called gadgets. LNR. You can use them on your button presses on your Pro controller. Man, seeing all the different Salmonoids, the way how you interact, the way how you evolutionize your weapons and stuff, the game looks really promising. I'm ecstatic about whenever this game comes out to be able to really sink my teeth into this one, though. But yeah, ain't got to wait long on all. End of July, that's when the game comes out.
And by the time our next podcast circles around, I think that will be the day that the Splatoon Raiders Direct airs. So we'll talk about that,
Yep,
which is weird. They're
June
doing that on
30th.
a
So
sun.
that
Weird. They're doing that on a Sunday.
wait, is that on a Sunday?
It is on a Sunday, exactly 2 weeks from the 14th, which was
No,
today.
no, no. Didn't they say June 30th? June 30th is on a Tuesday.
What? Wow, fucking! I'm getting my dates messed up. It's not exactly 2 weeks. Never
No,
mind.
it's June 30th.
Forget what I said.
It's two
Forget what I
weeks
said.
from Tuesday. So by the time we have our next podcast episode, that direct
It's
wouldn't have
about to
happened
happen.
yet. It'll be about to happen later on. So literally 2 episodes from now, we'll really blow the lid off of
Yeah.
Splatoon Raiders at that point.
Yeah.
All right. But yeah, so I think that's pretty much it in terms of that. And they said, hey, keep an eye on our Nintendo Today app and stuff like that because we'll go more in detail in the lead up to that. And they showed off new Joy-Con 2 controllers, blue and yellow. Take it as you will. Not feeling too hot about it because it's still mostly the black design even when you dock those Joy-Cons on your Switch 2. So, whatever.
Apparently, Splatoon Raiders inspired, like by Deep Cut, but not really. They should have put some fucking decals on them. Anything, even just a Pro controller. Do a new Pro controller. Put some cool
I'm
colors on it.
surprised they didn't do a new Pro controller, but they're saving me money by not doing it. So I'm like, okay, I'll
I
take it.
I guess so. Yeah.
So yeah, so we went from that straight on over into Deltarune Chapter 5. And I was like, oh, that
This
kind
is
of
a
makes
big
sense.
deal.
Yeah,
This is a
that's pretty
big
big.
deal for a lot of people. I'll say this, like certainly a good announcement, and Toby Fox has been giving Nintendo all of his Deltarune announcements last year as well. In that Switch 2 Direct, it was the Deltarune Chapter 3 and 4 announcement. This is a big deal. This comes out in about 9 days as well. This is a very, very like upcoming thing, and it's a free update for all people that own Deltarune.
So I guess when you bought chapter 1 and 2 you originally got for free. When you bought 3 and 4, I guess they give you 5, I guess. And they said
Yeah, you're
6 and
just
7 you had to pay for separately again, right?
maybe, yeah. Who knows what they're gonna
So
do? They
5
might
is
just give.
the weird like in between one, I think. Okay.
Yes, and 6 and 7 are maybe the last chapters. Who knows at
I
this
think
point?
I think they said they officially confirmed that 6 and 7 were supposed to be the last ones. So yeah.
And knowing Toby Fox, though, it's gonna be like a chapter 8. Either way, looks cool. I'll eventually get to that game, but I've seen stuff about it. I obviously know it's good.
Yeah, so not bad. Not bad. And then after they were done with the Deltarune stuff, they moved on over to one of my favorite games of all time when it came out in that given year. It was one of my personal game of the year. I'm talking about Metaphor Refantasio. I'm glad that that's coming out to the Nintendo Switch 2, and Atlas is also supporting the system as well. I mean, maybe eventually we'll get that day and date release for like maybe a game like Persona 4 Revival, like to kind of show up closer to the launch of it though. But man, if you're a Switch 2 owner and you never played this game because it hadn't been on a Nintendo platform yet, highly, highly, highly recommend it. Like play this in the lead up right before like Persona 4 Revival will come out though. This game is freaking phenomenal. I invested like well over 80 something hours. So somewhere between 80 and 100 hours I invested in this game. From start to finish, it's phenomenal. That's all I'm going to say about it. Play it if you hadn't. You won't regret it. If you like yourself some Persona or even, Shin Megami Tensei though too. It got a good balance of both. But yeah, really good stuff right there. Really good stuff. All right, and then after that, you got some other weird announcements, like like there's a dedicated Minecraft Switch 2 version of that game though. You ain't got nothing to say on that, Steven, right?
I like Minecraft, and I'm glad there will be a version that actually runs better on Switch 2, because it does not run good on Switch 2 right now. But fact of the matter is, I don't know why this took up a slot right at the end of the direct, and I don't know why it wasn't a shadow drop. Like, why even show it if it's not coming out yet?
I don't know. I guess it's to kind of keeping it in the back of everybody's mind. It's like, yeah, no, we got something coming here. Don't worry, don't worry, don't worry.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. This is a very, very weird thing to show off real quick.
Yeah, and then they kind of went into their sizzle reel, and I was looking at the clock. I was like, wait a minute, we're getting close to 50, but still a somewhat sizable chunk of time left. I looked at every one of these games in the sizzle reel. There might have been like maybe one, maybe two ish things that was up in here that I was like, I might have actually cared about, but for the most part, not really. Like I didn't really notice much of hardly anything up in here outside of like what maybe Tomb Raider, but we saw that in the previous like what state of play or whatever though. So I was like, okay,
Yeah.
whatever. The sizzle reel it wasn't really hitting for me. It just kind of let me know, hey, we're getting close to the end. Then, oh shoot! All right, they said, all right, we got like one of the last couple of things here, and we saw Mickey with a keyblade. I was like, oh, okay, we're going there. This is real. We're getting the
This
Kingdom
is
Hearts collection from everything from the 1.5, 2.5, 2.8, and 3 with the Remind DLC natively on the Switch 2. I was like, cool. And we found out after the fact they're shutting down the cloud versions like for the Nintendo Switch 1. So if you have
good.
save data on those, you can carry them over to these versions of the games if you buy them here, and you can buy them for like what 50% as a discount since you
That
already own those.
sucks. Why don't they just give it to you? It's like, wow, really? Like, you bought this cloud version, you can no longer play. We're gonna force you to pay more money to play the games you already have. This is why physicals exist. They can't take that from you.
Yeah, so I don't know. So that's why I usually do my research and stuff when I buy a game digitally. If most of the stuff is there, obviously never would really invest it in like a Steam version or something, not on streamed version or something, where it's like you never really owned it, even in comparison to
Yeah.
digital. So I don't know. But yeah, it was nice for them to confirm that basically all these games are coming over for, everything from Kingdom Hearts 1 all the way up to 3 with the Remind DLC. It's all playable natively on the Nintendo Switch 2, all available on October 8th. You can start your pre-orders starting now. I was like, that
Kingdom
is
Hearts.
nice. That's nice. Kingdom Hearts fans are eating somewhat pretty good. And there's even like demos for Kingdom Hearts 3 plus the Remind DLC, even if you wanted to check it out and see how well it ran on the Switch 2. Like you can do that right now. So I was like, that was cool. But
Yeah,
then
and it runs pretty decent, I must say. Like, it runs pretty well, all things considered. I will say, though, kind of weird that I think Kingdom Hearts 1.5 is coming. Oh yeah, Kingdom Hearts 1.5 and 2.5 are coming to Switch, but not the others. So I guess the other stuff doesn't make sense. Never mind. Forget what I said. But
I
yeah,
was about to say, what are
1.5
you
and 2.
talking about? No, it's 1.5 plus 2.5, 2.8, and 3 all come to the Switch 2.
Yeah, 1.5 and 2.5 are coming to Switch 1 though, apparently.
I what the heck? I never heard about that.
I swear I've seen that. Either way, I'm pretty sure I've seen that. Either way, that was a pretty cool announcement. That was a much needed announcement. I did not expect I did not expect what was after that though.
Yeah, because what after that shook me down to my core. I saw the dude, the organization character in that black hoodie. I popped up. I propped up. I was like, no, we ain't going there. I thought that was it. And we're going into the one last thing from Nintendo. But to see a giant Heartless wrecking the whole entire city, I was like, holy shoot, they done did it. They gave us Kingdom Hearts footage and a stinking Nintendo Direct. I expect something like this to be in a state of play. The bag that Nintendo had with Square Enix or the connections they're having, they're doing some stuff right over there in Japan. Like, gosh, dang. I did not expect this. And it wasn't just the same old footage that we got within the first teaser like 5 whole years ago. It's new stuff added up on it. We even saw our boys Donald and Goofy up in there. I was like, oh, heck yes. We even saw the UI stuff with the combat and stuff in the bottom left corner. I was like, oh, this game has came along. It came along.
They are giving Square Enix the sloppiest toppy imaginable in order to get exclusive footage for Kingdom Hearts 4 in their showcase. Now, you didn't even get it in Summer Games Fest. You didn't get it in fucking State of Play, which would have desperately needed it. You get it in this showcase, which, I gotta say, probably the actual best thing in the showcase. I did not expect it. It is new stuff that we haven't seen before, and it's just enough to hold people over until the next time we see this game in 4 years.
Well, you say in 4 years. I'll go out. I'll go out on a limb and say this, based on the stuff we got right now. I'm gonna put it out there in the realm. I think we'll get this game within the next 2 years. So if it doesn't come out next year, it will be at the latest. It will be 2028. But there's a chance it could come out holiday of 2027.
I don't know, man. Kingdom Hearts 3 had the excuse of, a bunch of spin-offs came out before that. Kingdom Hearts 2 came out, and then a bunch of spin-off games came out, and then Kingdom Hearts 3 came out way, way later. But Kingdom Hearts 3 came out, then the DLC came out, and then a fucking rhythm game came out. And I think they've just been doing mobile games since. So this game taking as long as it did is crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. They always like to take the good sweet old time with mainline series Kingdom Hearts games, so it kind of adds up. But overall, not bad. Not bad for the second to last announcement.
Oh yeah, sorry. I was just gonna say it coming day and date with the other consoles at launch is crazy.
Yep, that is huge. I will take that as a W win right there. I mean, for me personally, I have my Kingdom Hearts all in one collection on the PS4 versions. There's even going to be a PS5 version for this, all the Kingdom Hearts games 1 through 3 and the Remind and stuff. That's also coming to PS5 though. So I'm starting to think and question, depending on the pricing of this, I don't know where I will line up, where I'm going to line up with how I'm going to get Kingdom Hearts 4. Part of me wants to get it on Switch 2 just to say I have it on the Nintendo console to support that endeavor. But I do already own all the games on, PlayStation. However, if I decide, I know, but however, if I do decide to go back and say, you know what, I want to get the whole collection on Nintendo Switch 2, then I'm more likely to say I'm going to get Kingdom Hearts 4 as well on Switch 2. So it just kind of depends. I don't know. So I'm going to keep an eye on that, though. But overall, great stuff to get Kingdom Hearts 4 and the Nintendo Direct. So I'll take that as a massive W. Now we're down to the very last announcement of the show. Oh, shoot. Koizumi said, look at this. Man, he's been slapping me all over the face silly with all these announcements, though. But the last one, I saw the little diagram of the map, and I was like, I knew exactly what this was, thanks to Nate the Hate leaking this mess. Which, that's a whole argument for... that's a whole thing. We're not going to go too deep up on that mess, though. So for us that know, and I'm pretty sure we talked about in the podcast in past episodes, if you have to be a listener, you knew this Ocarina of Time remake was coming. It's just great now to actually see it finally confirmed from Nintendo themselves. There's other people that I casually know that keep up with gaming and stuff. They didn't know about this mess whatsoever. I mean, obviously for us that's tapped in, we knew about it, but not everybody and their mama knew about it. So I can only imagine how some people that didn't know about this, how they could have been popping out. And they probably have a totally different reception of how this direct ended versus all people like maybe like us.
Here's the thing: a couple podcasts ago, like at least 10 podcasts ago at this point, I predicted this before Nate the Hate spewed his little fucking mouth.
I predicted it even. Well, I remember it. You said it like early on this year, but in one of my Nintendo videos for like the holiday wish list, so I recorded that at the end of 2025. I said, hey, they're going to make a remake of Ocarina of Time. I said it in that video. And gosh dang it, I was right. And I was like, holy shoot. And that was before Nate the Hate said anything about it either, though, too. So I'm like, hey, let's go.
even if this, like, here's the thing. I hope it's good. Obviously, I don't know why the logo is gold instead of red. I don't know why Link looks like a little fucking. He looks like an adult just shrunken down. I kind of don't really like how young Link looks here, but hey, we have to see more. Um, it certainly, we don't know if it's gonna be a 1-to-1 remake yet, or if it's gonna be like doing some stuff new. All I hope is that it is not a 1-to-1 remake. I'd rather them do something new, since I can always just go back to the original Ocarina. And then comes out in 2026. This was the most disappointing ending to any direct ever. No gameplay, even though it comes out this year. It comes out in about 5 months, most likely, and we have no gameplay. This is
Well, you
Nintendo
say
we're talking about.
that with no gameplay though, but there are other previous Nintendo franchises that have done this with no actual gameplay.
And they
Shoot,
come out in
even
5 months?
well, not the 5 months. No, the no
Yeah,
gameplay, yes, has
well,
happened, but not
yeah, I
within the
know
short
that.
time
Yeah,
period. Yes.
guess what? Yeah, this short of a time period, no, they're obviously gonna do fucking Nintendo today. Oh, we're gonna announce our own direct for the game, which is so fucking like I Nintendo directs are just no longer exciting anymore. They spread the news out over 15,000 different fucking days, and it's like I genuinely do not know why I woke up for this. I'm sorry. I'm quite negative on this direct, mostly because even if this didn't get leaked, this whole direct is basically stuff that was already announced or games that have already come out. It's ports and re-releases and remakes and remasters. And really the only new games that showed up were, new stuff for Kingdom Hearts 4, fucking stupid Final Fantasy Resonance, Nintendo Switch Sports Resort, and Xenoblade Genesis. Everything else was stuff we already knew about.
Yeah, for the most part though. So, at least with Ocarina of Time, I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. Great, the art style's not in the same like Breath of the Wild because people were kind of worried about that. We got that confirmed. Wish I
What?
would have saw more footage on this thing though, which would have been nice though. However, we know it's going to be coming out in 2026, so I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. I mean, this was supposed to be the first time we were supposed to know about it. People were supposed to kind of ramble on and be like, "Oh, what else could this look like?" Had we not known about the leaks or whatever though. But I'm just going to throw it out here as a prediction. The next time we see this game will be part of probably what's going to be considered as a Legend of Zelda Anniversary Direct. I'm actually going to get this. You're probably going to get the Zelda movie and stuff like that. They might drop something for NSO, like a Four Swords Adventures or something like that. They might have like a few different, and maybe some physical thing like that Game & Watch thing, but something else with Zelda. And then that's how you're going to see this next Ocarina of Time trailer and something like that. They got between
We'll
now and
say.
what will be a September Direct. Or they could do like the Mario Anniversary Direct and have like all the Zelda related stuff at the beginning and then have the rest of the Direct be like traditional. I don't know. It's going to be
I
something
will
like that.
say, the way they went about it is a little unheard of. Like with Ocarina of Time, they don't call it Ocarina Reborn or Ocarina HD. They're just calling it Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time,
Which
kind of
is
like
the
the Link's
same way how
Awakening
they
thing.
did Star Fox. I mean, that's
And
two
also,
N64 games like that.
and also Link's Awakening, but they just called it the Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening.
We just know
I'm
we
just,
took a
I'm just,
learning curve with remake on there. But
I
yeah.
just personally, I personally hope it's not a 1-to-1 remake. I hope it
No,
does its own thing
I
or
think it
has some changes. Either way, like Link, like young Link looks a little weird, but like the hair looks pretty nice. The environment he's in looks pretty nice. I hope this is a really nice showcase of what Switch 2 can do.
no, I feel like it definitely should. And I know this direct definitely left a lot more questions than answers by the time we hit to the conclusion of this direct though. But overall, not too bad, not too bad. All right, so now that's it. That was the last announcement for the Nintendo Direct before they went to the Treehouse stuff. Now the most divisive letter grading right here. I heard about your letter gradings on all the other previous showcases. You said the state of play was at a D, a solid D, and I think you said both Summer Game Fest and State of Play were both
B
B
plus
pluses. Okay, so where you rank Nintendo Direct?
C.
Dang. All right, that's crazy. All
It
right, so
is the
you
rehash direct. If you don't like RPGs, you hated this. And if you're like me, where you like RPGs but not way, way, way too much, this was just the most boring thing imaginable. And obviously, like and every surprise got ruined for people that are actively in the gaming space. But even if they did, the price of the Switch 2 is going up. I thought Nintendo would at least show like, wow, wow, price of the Switch 2 is going up. We really got to show people why they got to buy this console. Let's actually announce some like stuff for 2027, or like just show, hey, big games coming.
I
Even just
will
saying,
say
hey,
this. They
we're
did
working
say
on Smash.
They did
Anything.
say they did say this direct was mostly focused on games coming out this year, which they
Yeah,
did
like
stick with it. And the only one
I
exception it was with Xenoblade I was about to say Chronicles,
Genesis.
Xenoblade Genesis.
And
That was the one
Genesis was
exception.
probably the Xenoblade stuff was absolutely the highlight of the direct, but it just did not feel like a June direct. Like holy shit! If the September direct is good, then the September direct is good. But this was a terrible direct when you look
Well,
at it at
for all things
from
considering,
the
though, I feel
perspective of
like
a
the
June
past
direct.
June Nintendo Directs, which it's been a while since we had a traditional June Nintendo Direct, it's usually been later or it's been like a third party one or whatever, though. These ones focus on second half of the year and maybe one random thing. It's those September Directs that are
The last
arguably
June,
usually the best ones because they are the ones that say, hey, we got a couple of things to close out, maybe like just a random shadow drop, but everything else in the show, it has to set us up for next year. That
I
stuff you
don't know,
just don't know
man.
about. The
The
September ones
June,
usually always be hitting the hardest, unless it's an already announced game that you really love. Which what comes to
Zard.
mind on that? Smash Brothers. Yeah.
Nah. June directs have always been the exciting ones. As major cope. June directs are where we got the announcement for Tears of the Kingdom. June direct is where we got June direct is where we've always gotten a bunch of stuff. Even back in the Wii U days, we got tons of stuff during the June directs.
Now Wii U, that was
Uh,
a totally different era,
uh,
but I get that though.
it's
Yeah.
it's the same Nintendo at the end of the day. June 2024, they got Echoes of Wisdom was announced. Metroid Prime 4 got its big re reveal, which the game wasn't that great, all things considered, but still back then that was a huge deal. Mario and Luigi Brothership was announced. Super Mario Party Jamboree was announced. So that was three like big games all got
And
announced
I think
that
all
people
of
were
those
waiting
were
for
games that
years.
came out in the
And
second
then,
half of this year, with the
well, guess
exception
what?
of I
Well,
think
that
that one
just
or two.
yeah. Well, guess what? That just means that the Switch 2 is having another kind of boring holiday. I don't know. This is the second holiday for Switch 2, and I gotta admit, I'm not really that impressed. I just I'm obviously gonna get Splatoon Raiders, and I'm gonna get most of these games, but like, it's nothing really exciting. It's like 7 out of 10s and 8 out of 10s going around the board. Nothing 9 out of 10 yet.
I got you.
Donkey Kong Bonanza was the last like 9 out of 10.
At least for me, you said a C for this direct. I gave this one an A minus, so we average out with a B on this Nintendo direct.
Yeah,
But
because
yeah,
it's not nearly as good as the other ones, but it's not as bad as the State of Play.
yeah. So I was about to say, so that kind of checks out. So for the most part, this is probably the biggest divide that we have between us, but it's still averaged out to a B, which is almost the same with Summer Game Fest and the Xbox One. Though, so not bad, all things considering. No, at least for me, when I went back and looked at my notes on this Nintendo Direct. The highlights for me, I like Rhythm Heaven Groove, but that's probably going to be an 8 out of 10 kind of game for me. Nothing super crazy to get hyped about. I did like Splatoon Raiders, but I know that was a game that was already announced. The other first party stuff, Xenoblade Chronicles, like the 1 through 3 Switch 2 editions, I loved and adored that. Xenoblade Genesis was definitely the highlight of the show. I'm really ecstatic about that. Obviously, by the time you got down to the end with first party stuff, I'm still really looking forward to Ocarina of Time. I'm still stoked about that. I'm just glad that it's official now. And I thought I meant, oh, and then Switch Sports Resort. I probably still will pick that one up, but that's like my kind of mad 8 out of 10 kind of game. But I'll still get it and like it though. That's it for first parties. The third parties, Final Fantasy Resonance, that was really great. I'm really looking forward to that. Deltarune was pretty cool seeing that mess up in there. Oh, Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave. That was like another highlight for me, even though that was like first party Nintendo game. I'm really looking forward to that. POPCULTURE was nice seeing that stuff. Shocked about Stellar Blade. Nice to see. And then obviously the Kingdom Hearts love up in there though. So between all of those are the things that caught my eye the best. That's what made the direct an A minus for me. It was just a nice, good mix of games that are third party that I think are really cool, like Metaphor Refantasio that I might have already played, but I'm glad it's coming over for other people to play. Games like Stellar Blade I haven't played, but now it's interesting to see it on the Switch 2. Already great Switch 1 games like Splatoon Raiders and Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave. I'm going to love the heck out of both those games. And then games we're really looking forward to it, like Legends of Ocarina of Time and Xenoblade Genesis, which are like the next two tentpole games. One to conclude out this year and one to start up the next year. So I got my roadmap paved. Your roadmap is not necessarily paved or strong for you because you're not necessarily as crazy with your RPGs and stuff. But at least for me personally and other people that love RPGs, this was the bomb.com. If you like a few of these, maybe you were averaging out at a B. If you hate RPGs, I understand the sentiment. This was definitely not the direct for you, but it didn't necessarily make it a terrible Nintendo Direct considering the announcements. That's where I land on all of this. Was there anything else you wanted to say, Steven? Because we'll wrap this up. This is the longest podcast episode we had in quite some time, but it makes sense with it being summer gaming.
Well, yeah, that was a pretty long tangent for stuff that we've already talked about. But yeah, like that's it. I don't know. I think this, but that kind of does encompass this direct. This direct is a bunch of stuff we already knew about. The games that were already announced, games that I've already played before. It is the most filler direct any direct has ever been. So yeah, I don't know. That's it. Maybe my opinion will change, but like right now, it is standing at a C. And I think this E3 season was certainly better than the last couple of years. But
no, almost every company was like hitting on all cylinders. Like this is the first time in a long time where you got something of substantial notoriety from every show.
Every showcase had at least one thing I was like, wow, that's crazy. But like, yeah, I don't know. I'll give it that. That's it.
Yeah, for me, it was like Wolverine State of Play, Summer Game Fest was Final Fantasy VII.
Well, we don't have to go over all of it again. We did talk about
Xbox,
all of these
Persona 6, and switch to Genesis or Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, he's doing all
those
of it
are good. But yeah, those are my highlights. And overall, I'm curious to know all y'all's thoughts. Let me know down in the comment section down below what all you think about all these four different summer gaming showcases. Let us know your letter grades and what you thought about each one of them. But thank you for everybody for those that did make it all the way to the very end of this long old podcast. Look, this ain't the norm. It's normally 2 hours, but 3 hours makes sense for all this gaming news. We have to cram it all in here somewhere, though. I'm tired now. I know Steven's tired living over there on the East Coast, but I really do appreciate the time that you put up in the pod today, Steven. So let the fine people know where they can find you at.
You can mostly just find me on Twitter at StevenJr1231.
Alrighty, and that's going to truly do it in terms of my ZardCast episode 124 right here, though. So yeah, if you really love this podcast, make sure to go ahead and hit that like button. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that bell to stay up to date. All things video game related, I feel like talking about and discussing. And if you happen to be one of the audio-only listeners or you curious about checking me out on one of those platforms, yes, you can listen to me on Spotify, Apple Music, iHeartRadio. Yes, you can listen to me in the car, Amazon Music Podcast, all of that fun little jazz stuff. Let people know and give out some short little reviews. Hey, we're just a couple of dudes that just love talking about game-related stuff, pop culture stuff, Marvel stuff whenever it comes. One of these days, we'll get an episode where we actually get the Doom trailer. Gosh dang it, though. It's only a matter of time before that happens, though. But yeah, great stuff all the way around, though. A great, phenomenal fake E3 season. Looking forward to playing all these great and amazing game announcements, though. But always stay tuned into the pod because we always got all y'all covered. All right, that's going to truly do it for my ZardCast episode 124, though. So remember, y'all, until our video I make next, until my next ZardCast episode, that being episode 125. I'll see y'all later.